Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez, Joel Dehls, and this is now episode 184. In this episode, we are going to react to my wide receivers list, ranking the top wide receiver cores, the Buccaneers signing Akiem Hicks, if Jordan Love will ever get a chance, and previewing the AFC North. A quick YouTube member and Patreon shout out to Phantom Wolf, Danko Hawkins, Matthew Jimenez, UK, J Love Clear, Zach W, Cole Larson, Deshaun Watson's top 5, Alexander, Nazir, Dwayne, Rib Smells Like Magnificent, Scary Terry, Travis Toomer, Drew's the Goat, Holmes, Nairi, your boy Nick, Jake the Snake, Corrupt, Kobe, Dylan, Afosa, Mason, Win in Silence and Make Them Think You're Losing, Gentile Drew, Cade MVP, Mark, SP Vorzi Shot, Jordan Watt, Evan, Dylan, Joel is the GOAT, Mayo, Andre, Peter, Daniel, Ben, Ruthless Rootster, Kill Moves, Joel B, SA Crimes, Eagle Dollar, Tizzy, Corey, Get Funkoed, Dylan, Playboy, Orlando, Big Chuck, Michael, Cole, Liam, T Grove 17, Tua Sucks on Cup, Ryan Barcelona, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Dave, Muffins, John, Sean Triplet, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, Hikari, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua. Let's get it, boys.
Let's get into it.
Real quick, actually, excuse me. Tua Sucks on Ka. I know you're listening. When Tua has a MVP type season, you're going to have to say Tua is the MVP, and I was very wrong. All right, that's going to be your new Patreon name. Thanks very much.
That's not going to happen.
Well,
Tua big-time MVP-like season? Nah,
MVP?
I don't
I said what I said.
What's his odds?
I don't know, but I told my dad $5-10 if you have some money laying around.
It's got to be like plus 4,000.
If people are throwing money on Jalen Hurts and your boy Trey Lance, there's no reason why they shouldn't be throwing money on Tua Tagovailoa. Simple.
Jalen Hurts has a better case than Tua, though.
If you're blind.
Because he'll probably win the division.
Maybe.
And he's better.
Probably not.
He is better.
In what world?
Every world.
Well, this past season, he was better.
Running
Especially
the
this
football.
world.
He had 16 touchdowns. I think him and
He
Tua
had like 24 total. He had like 8
he's
or
an
9
amazing
rushing.
rusher.
Yeah.
He's an amazing rusher.
And how about, before, it's football episode, but them Boston Celtics, so come on, bro. Those Boston Celtics
Come on.
smoked the Warriors.
Who's surprised?
Game 1.
Who was really surprised?
I'm not surprised. You surprised?
I most definitely was not shocked.
I saw your take. And I saw the other person who sits there, his take. And Pierre, I saw his take too.
Pierre, I was
It's cool.
stunned, man.
It's cool.
I sat at this table. It was a handicap match.
Golden
It
State
was.
will be
It was a handicap match. It
I
was
stood
3
my
on 1.
ground, man. We're going to see. We're going
Golden
listen.
State
Let's
what?
not have our victory
I know.
lap.
I know. I'm sorry.
We're
I'm
big
sorry.
on not overreacting, but you know what? I can appreciate a quick,
Quick
minor
shout out
exactly,
Boston. You know.
exactly.
By the next time that we record a football episode,
Yeah.
the Celtics will be down 3-1.
3-1. No, well,
I think that's what
game
he's
two.
hoping.
Game 2. Sunday.
3-2. Sorry.
3-2, bro. Then our next time we record is gonna be Wednesday. Game 2 is Sunday.
Is it going to be Wednesday? I'm not sure.
Well,
We don't
it's
know.
not gonna be game
I don't
6
know
by
about
the
Wednesday.
next time we record.
Okay, next time we record, let's see. Sunday is game 2. Wednesday.
Game 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warriors will be up 2-1 next time we record.
Doubt it.
Warriors will be up 2-1. Without a doubt.
We've been doubted all
Bring
playoffs,
out the
man.
brooms.
I heard the Nets were gonna beat us.
So
I heard
much
the Bucs were
chatter.
gonna beat us. I heard Heat in 7. So I mean, like, I'm cool with it. Like, I look forward to people picking against the Celtics at this point because it's worked up to this point. I hope it continues.
Yep. I don't think we did this formally where we I know we shouted out 20K subs on last football episode, or was it basketball episode?
Football and
Sure.
basketball.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure we
Football,
did
we
that.
definitely-
I know
Oh,
we
yeah,
did it. I just wasn't sure which episode we did it on.
We've had like a 2-week-long celebration of 20K, and you know what? It's our
Yeah.
party. We do what we want.
Yes, sir. For sure.
We're gonna keep on going now. We're gonna start the show off with my wide receiver list. Now, this one didn't go as crazy as the other ones, but I do think it is a firm list. I think when I sent it to Joel, he said this is your best one yet.
I did.
I thought my quarterback list was pretty spot on. Not gonna lie, I thought my quarterback list to me was my best list.
It wasn't terrible.
Quarterback
You
list
had-
was pretty good.
You had Burrow too high, you had Deshaun Love too low.
Agreed.
But I forgot about the guys in the middle. How you had it set
It's
up.
just because you guys aren't a believer in Joe Burrow, but
I'm not,
don't worry.
I'm not
We'll
a
get into that later on in the show because we're going to talk about the AFC North. So, wide receivers 1 through 32. Let's start with 1.
No, come on, bro. 32-1. You know how it goes. Exciting. Like,
The
do you not
the
care
list is
about it?
already up on the screen.
32 to 1.
Snap. That's true.
32 to 1. Hollywood Brown, Adam Thielen, Tyler Lockett, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Darnell Mooney, Devonta Smith, Brandon Cooks, Hunter Renfrow, Michael Pittman Jr., Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, Allen Robinson, Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Cooper Kupp.
Now, I want to say that I am under the same belief. I do believe that this was your best list. Few things, though, that stick out to me. Number one, to no one's surprise, I'm calling this out. No Broncos, especially if this is a list that you are projecting for next season.
It's 50-50.
To not have a single Bronco is shocking, especially Jerry Jeudy, given the fact that he's going to be playing with Russell Wilson. To not have Jeudy and or Sutton not anywhere near this list is borderline disrespectful. And another thing that stuck out to me is, again, if we're projecting Hollywood Brown at 32, in my opinion, I would have him at 26 at least. I'm projecting him to have a better season than Brandon Cooks, Devonta Smith, Darnell Mooney, Amon-Ra, Tyler Lockett for sure, Adam Thielen, solely for the fact that for the first 6 games, D-Hop's not going to be playing, and Kyler and him are going to be forced to making it work. And for him being the real only option on that outside that's going to be explosive, I'm expecting him to have the big-time season statistically and in terms of them impacting the game in the win column. So those were the first 2 that really stuck out to me. Another one, DK Metcalf, people looked at that and immediately were thinking, maybe a little bit too low. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it given the fact that it's going to be Drew Lock or Geno Smith as his quarterback. Now, my only issue is that you have Tyler Lockett 30. If you're going to have DK Metcalf at 18, I would have Tyler Lockett off the list and then throw one of my guys on the Broncos in here. That's my opinion, at least.
So let's get on to the Broncos thing first. No Denver Bronco deserves to be on this list. And part of the reason why I didn't project a Bronco to be on here is because it's impossible to project. Who's going to be the one that leads them in yards? Is it going to be Jeudy? Is it going to be Sutton? Is it going to be Tim Patrick? We have no idea which one's going to do it. Jerry Jeudy has not earned the right to be called the top 32 receiver. Cortland Sutton has, but last year he didn't have a better season than any of these guys. I have Hollywood Brown number 32. That's with me taking into account the target share he's going to have early in the season.
Hollywood was
with
great
Kyler.
last year, too.
That's why I'm stunned to see him 32.
It's just Adam Thielen, 24 touchdowns the past 2 seasons. If he stays healthy all year, new offense with the Vikings, I think he'll do fine. Tyler Lockett is a top 22 receiver. He's at 30 because he has no rust. The reason why I have Lockett so low in here is because I think his game is going to take an even bigger hit than DK's game.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Playing with Geno or Drew Lock, because Tyler Lockett is that deep threat. He's the one Russell Wilson went to the most. I think DK will probably have a fine season. Tyler Lockett's the one that I think will have a bit of a down year, but no Bronco deserves to be on here. You know, and I tweeted this out. The Broncos have a lot of depth at wide receiver. Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler have a lot of depth, but neither of them are true wide receiver ones. It's either they're talented but unproven. Jerry Jeudy's talented, he's unproven. Cortland Sutton, he got hurt. He had a torn ACL
for sure.
He is proven, but we still have to see how he comes back from that injury. Last year, he didn't play like a top 32 receiver in the NFL. And Tim Patrick is your most, in my opinion, consistent receiver, but he's good. He's not great. And KJ Hamler is a deep threat. These are not great receivers.
Jerry Jeudy's going to be great, man.
It's a lot of depth, but they're not great receivers. And you say Jerry Jeudy's going to be great. Well, I have some reservations about that.
But why?
Because of the play style of Jeudy and Russell Wilson. if you look at Russell Wilson's heat map, which basically takes into account everywhere he throws on the field, in the middle of the field, that's where he's coldest at. So Russell Wilson does his damage outside the numbers. That's where he compiles most of his yardage. Jerry Jeudy is a middle of the field type of receiver. He gets open, he wins on the inside of the field. Because of that, Russell Wilson doesn't target that very much. That's what Jerry Jeudy specializes in. Because of that, I'm not projecting Jeudy to have that big time spectacular year.
And the reason why I disagree with that sincerely is for the fact that Jerry Jeudy is a savant when it comes to route running. And he can get open middle of the field. He can get open going to the sideline. He's going to have no problem getting open regardless of the side of the field that he's going towards.
But Jerry Jeudy he does his damage in the middle of the field.
With Drew Lock, with Teddy Bridgewater, and even still last year, if you really want to hold it against
I'm saying like where he runs his routes. That's where he operates. He's best in the inside. He played most of the spot
last year.
No, again,
that's where he's best at.
If Russell's telling him, hey, run an out route, he has the capabilities of getting open outside.
But that doesn't happen, though.
Jeudy doesn't have an issue. Jeudy doesn't have a get open issue. His issue really last year was drops, which I'm not worried about. I mean, if you look at the league leaders in drops this past season, it was like AJ Brown, it was all these guys who were like Cooper Kupp was up there, Jett was up there, like all these guys who get a ton of targets and who we think are the best receivers in the league. I don't think Cooper Kupp is up there, but Jett is definitely, I think, had 9 drops last season. Jamar Chase as well had 9 drops.
Debo had a few.
Yeah. So all these guys, that's why I don't worry too much about drops, but that was his bigger issue. Also, the quarterback play. I mean, Russell Wilson's going to be a huge upgrade. That doesn't have to be said. I think Judy's going to be fine. I project him being the leading receiver. We saw Cortland Sutton, his sophomore year in the league, at 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns with not great quarterback play. I understand the ACL. There's some worry there, but I don't have... For a wide receiver 2, it's probably going to be 1A, 1B. I think Judy's going to be the 1A, but I think Sutton is a pretty good option for, being in that role.
And by discrediting Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, you're by association discrediting Russell Wilson. You have to acknowledge Russell Wilson's greatness and his ability to elevate these guys, which is what I've been anticipating since I've been begging for them to get a quarterback. And now we get one of the best in the league.
While that may be slightly true, it's not like these receivers are playing with a total scrub. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater.
Drew Lock?
We're going
this past season was Teddy Bridgewater.
We're going from Teddy Bridgewater to Russell Wilson.
I understand that. But we also saw Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson both have 1,000-yard seasons. So he was able to have success with those receivers. He comes to Denver, doesn't have that same type of success. It's not – listen – the thing about play style, I think Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson play style is just not the best combination. There's a reason why Russell Wilson has success with the Tyler Lockett, because he loves to throw the deep ball. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Patrick, and there's a world where Tim Patrick is the guy.
I've said that on multiple occasions. I understand.
Going even further, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a world where one of these top 3 receivers goes down. KJ Hamler all of a sudden has a solidified spot, and he's the one doing the most damage with Russell
But you're
Wilson.
not worried about him coming off a torn ACL? No, Sutton's 2 years removed from a torn ACL?
Well, we're talking about 2 different things. We're talking about KJ Hamler.
I think KJ Hamler is going to be really good also.
Me thinking KJ Hamler is just good versus me putting Sutton as a top 32 receiver. Like let's say Cortland Sutton is the guy. Where is
Tyler
he
Lockett
going?
needs to be off this list.
I'm not putting Sutton over Tyler Lockett.
You should have Jerry Jeudy on this list.
I'm not doing it.
And the one thing about Russell Wilson, in terms of his heat map over the middle of the field, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, first of all, I mean, DK plays primarily on the outside with Lockett. They're both more down the field type receivers. You're going to have Jeudy and Sutton, who probably aren't known for as much as their downfield capabilities. They both can do it, but they're more known as route runners, at least in Judy's case for sure, being able to beat his defender. So it might be a case of Russell Wilson, while these guys get open in terms of their route running, like they're known, at least in DK's case, for his physical nature, his ability to win down the field. Now he's getting different types of wide receivers, which might change his heat map next year.
That also limits Russell Wilson's game, though.
But you're going to have KJ Hamler who can
Sutton
go deep. Sutton can go deep.
has the ability to go deep.
Jeudy
That's why I think
4.4s.
Sutton is more of the option to be the wide receiver 1 for Denver. But you're so hell-bent on Jeudy. Who does he go over?
Like I said, Tyler Lockett should not be on this list.
So Tyler Lockett is the person you see that he should be on.
Lockett
he should be over Adam Thielen also.
almost these last
He
few
should be
years,
over
Tyler Lockett
Amon-Ra.
disappears a ton. He has
Should be over.
I don't know if he should be on
150-yard games.
Should be over
20-yard
Darnell
games.
Mooney.
Judy over Darnell Mooney.
I'd have Judy in this 26 through 28.
They're in the same. Yeah, I mean, Judy and Mooney are in the same tier for me.
And when you talked about Devontae Smith, I actually think I put him a little bit too low. Devontae Smith
He's a beast.
could be higher.
Yeah, and you also had another thing that I was going to mention. Mike Williams is incredibly too high for me personally. Mike Williams has had one. Well, let me not say one. He had two for the
When
fact
he's
that
healthy,
he had
he's
1,001 yards, 1,002 yards,
1,001. Yeah,
and then this most recent season where he definitely had his
but still,
best
he
season
fell
by far.
off insane
Of
that
course.
second half of the year. He
That's
went on a crazy run.
The story of Mike Williams is he has a flash of, wow, this guy has the capability of being a true wide receiver one. Oh, he's non-existent for a couple weeks. But then this past season, he came back towards the end of the year, and he was doing his thing.
To start, he was on fire for 6-8 weeks.
For sure.
Like he was going.
So what? Michael Pittman is better than him?
I would put Pittman, I would put Renfro, and believe it or not, I would put Hollywood Brown over him as well.
I would have Mike lower too. I
don't know
think
I can't put
Devontae
Hollywood
Smith's
over
better
him.
than Mike Williams.
For sure.
I can't
Mike-
put Hollywood over him.
I mean, listen, you disrespected Hollywood last year. He definitely
Hollywood's having a great
outproduced
year.
what you were expecting, and now he gets.
No, he did not.
What are you talking about?
What did he have that he outproduced what I expected?
He had over Iraq last season
He had 1,000 yards pretty much flat in 17 games.
with Tyler Huntley as his quarterback for some of them as well.
Yes, but he didn't exceed any of my expectations. That's exactly what
You said he was
should
okay.
do. He is okay.
He's not. He's a damn good receiver.
He's on the
And now you're
borderline
gonna-
of being. He's 32 in my top 32 list. He's literally on the borderline of being
and I'm
kicked
telling
out.
you,
he's
He's
not
okay.
rankings.
And exactly, that's your rankings.
That's my rankings.
I have
What
him.
does-
I have him 22 on my top 25 list.
Well,
We
it's
did top 25.
I wrote my own.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look at this right here because I actually have PFF's top wide receivers in front of my face right now. Just looking how they ranked them this past season, I'm trying to look for Hollywood Brown. He didn't even make the top 36 for PFF.
Okay, good for them.
And
Deontay Johnson didn't make that list.
No, he did. He's actually 36.
Can I hear PFF's top 10?
Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Debo, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Gabe Davis, Chris Godwin, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett. I could just keep going. DK
Yo.
Metcalf, Amon-Ra, DeAndre, Hunter Renfro.
You could have stopped at Gabe Davis at 10.
No, I know,
Gabe Davis
but I'm
at 10
saying
is
like
crazy.
obviously PFF. There's flaws in what they do. There's flaws in everything when you're
So
accumulating that much data.
why don't we just talk about what we were discussing? Because
But Hollywood, but you're telling me Hollywood exceeded my expectations. He didn't exceed my expectations. He was a borderline 1,000-yard receiver. He's average.
From the conversations that we had prior to last season, man, he definitely exceeded them from how you were telling me that he was not
I just
that
think
good.
he's okay. He's just okay.
And he definitely outperformed the
Hollywood.
word okay last
Hollywood
season.
Brown to this point has just been okay. That's what he is. He's just okay.
And Mike Williams.
Yeah, he's disappointing for where he was picked.
So my
but
point
last
being,
year
exactly,
he's coming off one of his best seasons last year, in an offense that features him as an X receiver.
Just got a bag.
And now Hollywood Brown's going to a system where it's now pass friendly, and now he's getting one of the better passing quarterbacks in the league as well.
Okay, and he's gonna have the utmost attention.
Okay,
while
all
D-Hop
right,
is
let's
out.
make this easy. Who has the better year next year? Do you think it's gonna be Mike or Hollywood? Because
Mike Williams or Hollywood Brown?
Yeah,
That is such an easy question.
It depends on how Hollywood starts off.
I mean, listen, your answer should be clear. You have Mike Williams 10 spots ahead of him.
I mean,
friendly wager.
Justin Herbert is the quarterback for the Chargers, so I'll go Mike Will.
Okay. How much
go
you want to
Mike
put on
Will.
that?
Yeah, come on. What do we got?
We could put whatever on it.
You want a Mike Will jersey? You got me
No.
a Hollywood Brown jersey?
Herbert
I don't
jersey?
want a Mike Will jersey. I would take a Herbert jersey though.
That's cute.
You have
We could do
Kyler
that.
already.
I do have a Kyler jersey.
I don't know if you want another Cardinals jersey.
I really don't.
I don't blame you.
All right, so we're putting a jersey on this?
Fair.
Are
I
we
guess.
actually going to hold down to this bet? Because you already owe me for the Dolphins in Miami. Dolphins and Jaguars.
That
That you're
doesn't
not going to
count.
pay up.
That doesn't count.
Whatever.
The season didn't start. You
Our
have-
Auden Tate bet still stands. Don't forget that.
That's crazy.
The Gabe Davis bet. I know.
This
you're
is
not
how
worried
I
about
got to
Gabe
stop
Davis
making
one.
bets, man. I got to stop making bets.
Yeah,
Make
I
make
agree.
bets in like
Nah, 'cause
March.
you guys
when
are
nothing even
cheating,
happened.
man.
Cheating?
Nah.
You saw how much the Falcons revamped that wide receiver room, and you're gonna
they
hold
got
to that.
Drake London and that's it.
Geronimo Allison.
They got Drake London and that's.
I was watching.
Auden
I was
Tate-
rewatching a playoff game versus Seattle where Green Bay was facing them.
Yeah.
Allison made some tough catches for them.
Auden Tate has every chance in the world to be the wide receiver 2 on the Falcons.
Okay.
Third option, but wide receiver 2.
What I'm saying is that back to the original point, Hollywood Brown is exactly who I think he is. He's good.
He's a high end.
He's not exceptional.
He's a high end wide receiver too.
He's not great. He's okay. He's literally okay.
So funny. Auden Tate got the word good out of him, but Hollywood Brown got
You
okay.
think he's better than Tyler Lockett?
Going into this next season?
No, I'm saying who's a better receiver, Hollywood or Tyler Lockett?
The thing is, he had Russ with him. Like, if you gave Hollywood Brown Russ,
Tyler Lockett's better than him.
It's close. They're very similar.
Let's also not disrespect Tyler Lockett. He doesn't have some of the surest hands.
I know, but Tyler Lockett disappears a ton.
Listen, fine.
That's because he's a deep threat.
And if I said Hollywood,
he's more than a deep threat.
And if
I know, but that's what he primarily does. He makes big time plays.
But he doesn't. Hollywood doesn't disappear nearly as much as Tyler Lockett does. Tyler Lockett has games where he has 17 yards, 10 yards.
Listen, going into next season, there's no doubt in my mind Hollywood would have a significantly better season.
Yeah, of course. A question: if Chris Godwin wasn't hurt, where is he on this list?
That was another thing.
If Chris Godwin's not hurt,
because he got hurt. This is week 14, 15 of last year, and he waited a month, maybe more, to get that ACL surgery. And if we're thinking it might take, it's probably not a full year, but maybe 9 months to recover. He's probably going to be back midway through next season.
He's 10-11.
Okay,
he's 10-11.
That's fair.
Yep, he's 10-11.
Because Godwin is borderline better than Mike Evans when he's healthy.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Honestly,
the only other issue, I'll get into my top 10 later. I didn't have Cooper Kupp number 1, but it's fair. He had just had the historical season. I don't think he repeats it just because the target share is ridiculous. I think Allen Robinson being there for a full season, I think he's better than Robert Woods and Odell. They paid him like that for sure. Gave him $15 million a year, and I think they'll be a bit more of a balanced team with Cam Akers there for a full season, now a year plus removed from the Achilles injury. But really the only other issue I thought DK was a bit too low. I know his quarterback situation if we're projecting it for 2022, but we got to remember, he's a year off from having, 10 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns. And even last year, he put up 950 and 12 touchdowns with bad quarterback play. And the year before that, we're talking about DK as a potential top 7-8 wide receiver.
For sure.
So I don't want to overreact too much to one down year, even though he almost had a K and 12 touchdowns, and this was his first time not playing with Russell Wilson. So he's going to have a bit of a down year, but Drew Lock is someone who's going to sling the ball. I
think Geno Smith is starting.
He could.
I don't think it's going to be Drew Lock.
I think they're both going to play at some point.
I like Geno better.
They're both going to play at some point.
Listen, if Seattle has Drew Lock starting at quarterback for them, I pray for Seattle
fans. But this is what I'm going to say. This list.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
If this list
1,310.
If this list was a fantasy football list, then I could project somebody like Sutton, Judy, to be over these other guys. But the truth is that this list is a combination of everything. This list is a combination of the 2021 season plus projection for this upcoming season. And for some guys, I have to take into account their body of work. Because of that, even though Tyler Lockett probably won't have a top 32 wide receiver season, there is no way I can take him out my top 32 receivers.
So you think this time next year is Lockett on the top 32?
There's a possibility. It just depends on how he does with Geno and Lock.
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you right now.
There's a world that they can still both go for 1,000 yards receiving this year.
Like if they go to sleep at night and they dream about it, maybe.
We did see Teddy give Robbie and DJ more.
Yeah, okay, I understand that, but Teddy is a way better quarterback than Geno Smith and Drew Lock.
Yeah, Geno Smith also had Tyler Lockett had a 158-yard receiving game with Geno. He wasn't good in the other. They played 4 games in total where Geno started. He wasn't good in the other 3, but he had that big time performance, so he's capable of it.
That's like, Seattle, 1,000 yards in today's NFL isn't.
And DK
insane.
played well with Geno. He played well with Geno.
To a degree, I agree.
So I think he'll definitely.
12 touchdowns.
DK is definitely getting 1,000 yards in my opinion. There's no doubt about it.
He had 950 this past season.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure DK cooked towards the end of the season with the touchdowns. Once Russ came back, he was eating.
Yeah,
also in the beginning of the season, DK and him didn't click.
And
DK had some drop issues too earlier in the year.
Very last thing, absolutely last thing I want to say about this list. T. Higgins underneath Allen Robinson. That was a little shocking to me. I think that T. Higgins, especially this upcoming season, and the way that we just saw T. Higgins and Jamar Chase work towards the back half of the season last year, and the connection that Joe Burrow has with T. Higgins, to see him underneath Allen Robinson, even Deontay Johnson, truthfully. I have on my personal list, I have T. Higgins over Deontay, A-Rob, and Hollywood, obviously.
I don't want to forget what Allen Robinson is. He had one bad year.
I'm not disagreeing.
If we take that year out, I held it into some regard, but if we take that year out, this past season, and you tell me Robinson is heading to Los Angeles to play with Matthew Stafford, he can have this type of season.
I don't
In
disagree.
2019 and 2020 with Mitch, Nick Foles, he averaged 100 catches, 1,200 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Allen Robinson is a dog,
Yeah.
for sure. But T. Higgins is going into
dog, too.
the peak of his career.
I agree. Who do you think has better numbers next year, T. Higgins or Allen Robinson?
That's a great question.
Both wide receiver twos, both have top 4 receivers opposing them.
The way that I saw them utilize T. Higgins, not only towards the back half of the season, but in the postseason as well, I think T. Higgins probably has the better numbers.
A-Rob has a better season, in my opinion. But
Be the deciding vote. What do you think?
I lean A-Rob as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
so just talking more about my list, I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned the 13th spot.
CD?
Yep.
Yeah, I personally,
You guys are lower on CD than consensus.
We are.
I'm pretty high on CD.
you also have Keenan Allen very low. That's another thing we didn't mention. I would take Waddle over him, but I really didn't disagree too much. Oh, I also have Terry egregiously high on my list,
What's egregious?
like 13.
He's in 15.
Ah, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah,
I think CD Lamb is, without a doubt, head and shoulders, rocks and mountains above Jerry Jeudy.
this 12 to 16 range it's all like very close together. They're all these young and up and coming wide receivers. I mean, Terry's been in the league, I guess, longer. I guess same as Deontay, maybe 1 year.
Had the luxury of Dak, bud. All right, you're trying to get a reaction out of me. It is what it is. Because it easily could be that Jerry Judy's in CeeDee Lamb's position next year, and you're just going to be bitter about it.
I don't think so. I think CD being wide receiver number 1, now not having to share targets with Amari, he can go for like 1,500 yards this year. I'm not going to lie. CD can be that dominant.
So CeeDee can be a top 4 receiver in the NFL?
Say, yeah, top 5 guy.
He's capable of that type of season for sure.
Interesting.
He's capable of that type of season.
Interesting.
He's 9th rated receiver according to PFF. No, 8th rated receiver
Yeah,
according to
they had
PFF.
Gabe Davis 10th. I don't really care.
No, they actually didn't have Gabe Davis 10. No, they did.
That's insane.
No, he's just that good. You're just sleeping on him.
No, he's not top 10 good, dude.
We looked at it before the show. Laviska Shenault has more regular season
Yes,
receiving
because
yards
he
than
didn't
Gabriel
have the
Davis.
snaps. Look, this is the season that's really going to show you how good Gabe Davis is.
I agree with this, though.
You take too much into account what happened.
He's not top 10, nowhere near. Like, that's
whatever.
egregious. That's
Look,
ridiculous.
at some point, you got to listen to me, man. Because last year
No,
Last year I told you Debo. That's the man.
did?
You was like, oh, Debo over DK. I'd never. What does Debo have? Top 5 season.
But you even agreed
You
when
have
we said
to.
when we did the who was it? AJ Brown, Terry, and Debo,
Yeah, he was cutting Debo.
and you cut Debo.
No, because who am I going forward with?
Yeah, well, I agree. So we're both in agreement that
But
Debo had a
that's
great year,
that's
but we're not expecting him to do it
That's
again.
There's a difference though, because with him there was more concerns around Debo, and that's why I cut him. And also there was a report that he didn't even want to play the wide back position. So you take that out of his game, where does he rank? So that's a big question mark for me. So it's something you just got to realize that I know receivers.
I know receivers.
And when I
too.
say Gabe Davis is like that, Gabe Davis is like that.
I know
And when I
receivers,
say
Gabe
no,
Davis-
and when I
Gabe
say
Davis is
no
a guy,
Bronco
bro.
deserves to be on this list, it's because no goddamn.
you'd
I don't know
rather-
if you know.
All
I don't know
right.
if I'm giving you this
So we
crown
have,
of known receivers.
We have the under 1,000.
One amazing take.
We have the over under 1,000 on Gabe Davis. I'll take Jerry Jeudy's stats versus Gabe Davis stats this year.
Well, you're taking a potential wide receiver number 1 over number 2.
You think Gabe Davis? He's the number 10 wide receiver according to PFF.
I'm not gonna make
Where's
that
Jerry
bet.
Jeudy
Wow,
on
that
this?
is soft.
I'm not gonna
You
make
said
that.
That
you
is soft.
tweeted I would rather have Gabe Davis in every single Broncos wide
I would.
receiver.
I would.
I'm taking.
would.
I'm not even saying the field. I'm saying I'll take my guy. I'll take Jeudy. You get Gabe Davis.
I'll take that.
All right. What do you want to do? Receiving yards? Reset like what
Yeah,
are we
receiving
doing?
yards. Yeah,
All right.
do that. Gabe Davis is gonna have more. Judy's
less.
not that guy you think he is, bro. He's not that guy.
You better hope
We
he
need
isn't,
we need
man.
a running
not that
tally
guy.
of all of the bets that we have because I'm gonna be a rich man.
I don't know about that. If you're betting on Jerry Jeudy,
you're betting on
gonna be
Gabriel
broke.
Davis,
yeah, who had a 200-yard game in the playoffs, 4
it's
touchdowns.
an outlier, bro.
No, that's something that's about to be in trend.
He's
It's
gonna
about to be
he's
in
gonna put up
trend.
3,400 yards next year.
He look. There's a possibility he goes for 1,200. Stop sleeping on Gabe
All right,
Davis. 10th rated wide receiver according to PFF.
You're right.
Sometimes you just got to listen to the guys who know football.
I'm
man.
surprised Gabe Davis isn't on this list.
I wanted to put him in here, but
That would've been
there was
insane, bro.
there was no way for me to put him in here. I couldn't fit him in. There's a lot of great wide receivers
There's
in
a
the
ton.
league right now.
Yeah, it's a ton.
So before we move on to your top 10 receivers, any other question marks about this list?
I feel like I aired all my grievances out
We did talk about real quick before we recorded. Maybe it was during Diggs over Tyreek. You guys both seemed that it was clear-cut Tyreek without a doubt. I think it's closer. Especially going into next year, I think they'll have very, very similar numbers. I mean, they already did.
I think that if you're starting a franchise, like if we play Madden, you're easily taking Tyreek for
he has
obvious
99
reason.
speed.
Of course, it's the speed. But in real life, if you're taking a receiver, I feel like 9 out of 10 times that people go Tyreek because he's more explosive. There's a
That's
higher
a fair
chance.
argument.
Yeah, there's a higher chance that if
he
you
changes your offense more than Stephon Diggs does.
100%, 100%.
That's fair.
You have
but that
to
doesn't
game
necessarily
plan
mean he's a
against
better
him.
wide receiver. He's just a better playmaker.
He's a better football player.
He's more explosive.
Defenses have to account for Tyreek Hill more.
I agree. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a better wide receiver.
He is a better wide receiver, though.
I think he is.
I think defenses have to account for Lamar Jackson more than Joe Burrow, for example. But I think Burrow's a better passer.
But you think Lamar's better overall?
I do, but I think Burrow's a better passer than him. I think he's a better quarterback overall.
I understand your logic. I understand your logic.
Like,
I mean,
because
that
you-
doesn't. But you just said it. Like you think Lamar's still the better quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm
You think-
also
so-
recognizing Burrow's a better passer.
Okay,
than him.
so that's like me saying, you know what, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs is close, but I know Stephon Diggs is a better route runner. That doesn't make him a better receiver.
Okay, fine. Tom Brady and Lamar. I think going into the week, you're game planning about Lamar more. How are we going to contain him in the pocket? How are we going to make sure he doesn't get 100 rushing yards? You know Brady's going to dissect you different ways. You're probably going into that matchup saying, how are we going to contain Lamar? When it's Brady, it's like, all right, we just have to like pressure him. You know, something more. Maybe it's not the best in terms of analogies.
I know
but
what you're saying.
When we're talking getting defensive
No, I think
defensive
when
coaches'
people game
minds,
plan against Tom Brady, they're like, we just have to take
pray
things away.
and pray to God. That
Because
also.
he's so smart that he knows where to go at exactly every single situation. I think people go up against Tom Brady and say there's nothing we can do.
I understand your thinking.
You know?
Of course. I just personally think that Tyreek Hill, you get the ball in his hands, there is a chance of any given moment he could take that play to the crib. Maybe you could say the same about Stephon, but it's just a different, it's heightened so much more significantly with Tyreek Hill.
Okay. No pushback.
Yeah. All right.
They
sweet.
have 4 and 5 or 5 and 6.
All right. So let's get into these top 10s because I'm pretty excited about it. So number 10 for me is going to be A.J. Brown. Now, this was tough for me because I just left off MT off this list. And MT, when he's healthy, for sure, I would put him over A.J. Brown. And I say that for sure, like, and it sounds kind of rude, but I just understand how great MT is when he's on the football field. And with Jameis, it'd be interesting to see how he would play with one another, But for the time being, A.J. Brown come into this season with a new team on the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel like he should have a pretty solid year, especially with Jalen Hurts apparently working on his mechanics, just the fundamentals of throwing. A.J. Brown should benefit from that. Now, number 9, I have Mike Evans. Number 8, I have DeAndre Hopkins. Number 7, Deebo Samuel. Number 6, Tyreek Hill. Number 5, Stephon Diggs, ironically. Number 4, Devontae Adams. Number 3, Cooper Kupp. Number 2, Jettas. Number 1, Jamar Chase. Now, I'm going to explain Diggs over Tyreek really quick because we just had this whole thing. I say Diggs over Tyreek because Josh Allen is going to put him in a better situation where he's the wide receiver 1. He's going to have more opportunity than Tyreek, in my opinion. But personally, at the wide receiver position, I think I would take Tyreek. But just for production-wise, this is how I have my list set up right now. With Tay at 4, that's kind of controversial. But coming into this season with Derek Carr, who's not Aaron Rodgers, we all understand that, coming into a situation where he is also surrounded by really good wide receivers for the first time in a long time.
One good one.
Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, he's a tight end, but yes, he lines up on the outside as well. He gets wide receiver looks, and I feel like his production's still going to be there. He's still going to be a top 5 receiver, but it's not going to be leaps and bounds where he is a clear-cut number 1, especially for the fact that this league is full of talented wide receivers. Cooper Kupp just put up one of the most, if not the most, impressive wide receiver season we've ever seen, both statistically and efficiently, where he was a Super Bowl MVP. Number 2, I have Jettas for the fact that he has everything I want in a wide receiver. His route running is mint. His big playability is among the best in the NFL. And he's in a situation where he is going to be fed the football a ton of times, and he is going to produce every single time you ask of him. Now, the only reason he's not number 1 is because Jamar Chase, to see the season that he put forth this past year, his rookie year, over 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, to be as much of a force as he was in the playoffs, he is the future of the NFL. He is the future of the wide receiver position. And I'm only expecting that to heighten going into his sophomore year, especially with the connection that him and Joe Burrow have.
It's a firm list. I just made one change last minute. I just want to make sure I want to stick with it. All right. I think I will. It was between 9 and 10. My number 10 wide receiver is DJ Moore. I was going to put him 9, but I think you guys would have bugged out a little bit. I have DJ Moore number 9, 3 straight years basically.
What about number 10?
Sorry, number 10, DJ Moore. Did I say 9? Number 10,
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore. 3 straight years of almost 1,200 yards, about 1,150 each season with terrible quarterback play. The guy I was debating putting him over, number 9, is DeAndre Hopkins.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, before this last season, we're probably talking about him as a top 3 receiver in the league. This past season, he had the touchdowns, right? I think he had 8 touchdowns in 8 games played, I want to say. And if you look at the previous 2 seasons, he was around 7-8 touchdowns for his entire season. I think touchdowns is the one stat in terms of touchdowns versus receiving yards versus receptions. Touchdowns is the one that's going to waver the most. I think receptions and receiving yards stay more consistent year over year. So he was on pace last year for 950 yards. Now, Hop does other things. You know, he's gonna have more eyeballs on him, which opens up other things on the field. He's a great red zone threat. I think DeAndre Hopkins, though, coming off a pretty decent injury, missed multiple weeks, suspended the first 6 games, and entering his age 30 season. Now you got Hollywood Brown, who's by far the best wide receiver 2 they've had since the Kyler Murray era kind of started. I think he takes a bit of a step back. Number 8 is Mike Evans. He kind of just bores me at this point. I got to respect him. 1,000 yards every season. First ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best receivers, consistently wise.
No doubt.
Every single season over these last 6-7 years. So he's in here. Number 7 to me is A.J. Brown. His biggest issue is staying healthy. When he's on the field, he's one of the most explosive players in the league. He's one of the best yards after the catch receiver in the league. I compared Treylon Burks to him, and he ended up going to, his former situation in Tennessee. So obviously you guys know I'm excited to see what Treylon does. Number 6, I have Tyreek Hill. 6 and 5, him and Diggs. Spoiler, they're neck and neck. I just think going into next year, I think not that Tyreek takes a step back, but in terms of what he did in Kansas City compared to what he's going to do in Miami. Now, this past season in Kansas City was a little bit different since the Bucs broke Kansas City with these 2 high looks. It was a much more underneath stuff and not as many big plays for Tyreek Hill. So I think he's going to do some of the similar stuff in Miami. But 5, I have Diggs just because of the quarterback differential between Josh Allen and Tua. I think Diggs will put up better numbers next year. And I think this top 4, these 4 guys these are the tier 1 guys, right? Like obviously these guys are wide receiver 2, the 5 through 10. But Chase, Tate, Kupp, and Jettis. Number 4, I have Jamar Chase. I think you could put him anywhere from 4 to 1. I'm not going to argue too much with you. He had some games where he had 250 yards, and there was other games probably earlier on in the year where he had a few week stretch where he was putting up 30, 40, 50 yards. But then T. Higgins was doing his thing as well. So Jamar Chase is 4. He puts up the same year he does this past season. He could probably go to number 1. Number 3, I have Devontae Adams. My only issue with him is what does he look like without Aaron Rodgers? He's the best receiver in the league coming into this season or going into last season. I think consensus he was the best wide receiver. Now he's going to be switching quarterbacks for the first time. He has history with Derek Carr playing in college. I think it'll work out fine. I just don't know if he puts up wide receiver 1 overall numbers like he has over these past 3-4 years. Number 2, I have Cooper Kupp coming off his historic season, the best wide receiver season of all time. I mentioned earlier, I just think Allen Robinson comes in, he takes away some of that target share, and I think they have a more balanced offense. Number 1 to me is Justin Jefferson. I think he's the best receiver in the league. Like you said, he's everything you could possibly want in a receiver, the most yards in NFL history through 2 seasons. Him and Cousins, they have something going for them. He had 9 touchdowns. He had 1,600 yards, 100-something receptions. So to me, Jett is number 1, but 1 through 4 could go any which way.
Do you think I'm bugging for having Jamar at 1 over these guys?
I think 1 season, it's a little premature.
1,413 touchdowns
He was insane.
Crazy.
He was insane.
If someone deserves that spot, it's Justin Jefferson.
Jettis just did
I have
it for
Jettis
2
too.
years.
I have Jettis too.
And that's the only, yeah.
And I'm taking Joe Burrow over Kirk Cousins. And
That's
I'm
fair.
not thinking twice about
But
it.
Jamar Chase was able to break Jetta's record because he played an extra game.
No, he actually did it without the extra game.
How many was he over?
Because
He broke it in the 16th game.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was the game against Kansas City where he put up the 250, however many yards.
Yeah.
Well, considering Jefferson didn't start until week 3.
Yeah,
Jefferson's
that's
better.
true. He didn't get burned until later on in the season.
I think Jefferson is better right now. Well, what I have to say is that is it crazy to have Cooper Kupp outside the top 3? Because I don't. If we're projecting going into this season,
Where'd you have Kupp?
I have Cup 3.
I think Jefferson's gonna have the best year. Jamar Chase to me is top 3. Devontae Adams could have a better year.
It's really those top 4.
It's not crazy to
top
put
4.
Cooper Kupp in the 4th.
Personally, no, it's not insane, and I'm fine with it. I agree. What you said about the top 4, they're the tier 1s. Whichever way you want to shake them up, I'm fine with it, yes. But nothing lower than 4. And even still, yes, Allen Robinson's going to take some looks away from him, But Odell was there too, and Odell was taking.
Yeah, but he came late in the season.
I understand what you're saying, but even still, Odell had early success, quick success with the Rams. I think Allen Robinson might surpass that slightly.
I think he'll put up much better numbers than Odell.
I don't know, man. Odell was super, super good for the Rams.
I know, but you have Allen Robinson. They signed him $15 million a year.
But they also had Robert Woods in the beginning of the year.
They did. Ended up tearing his ACL. At the same time, Odell really came in. But, I mean, I think Allen Robinson is a better wide receiver than Robert Woods is.
But is Allen Robinson a better wide receiver than Odell Beckham Jr.?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know about that.
Yes.
I don't know. But at this point, I don't know. I understand your logic. It's
we just talked about it. The 2019, 2020, 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns.
And Odell was one of the greatest wide receivers we've ever seen prior to hitting Cleveland.
But it's been multiple years.
Of course. And listen, but that's why I say what you're saying is fair, and it's really not. There's not too much pushback I have with that.
The reason why I say he's better than Odell, or at least I think he takes more targets away, is because they signed him to this big contract. They have the offseason, minicamp, OTAs. He's a part of their offense. It's not week 9, week 10, Odell comes in, let's make it work. No, Allen Robinson is a part of this entire offense.
For sure. Fair enough.
That's a great point.
It is.
That's why I think Robinson's going to have a big-time year. I don't know if that means that Cooper Kupp slides down to the 4th spot. Just off of talent alone and who I like better, I would take Jefferson, Adams, and Chase over Kupp. But Kupp has shown it even with Robert Woods or OBJ. Nothing is going to mess up with Stafford and him and already have.
Can you run through your top 10 again?
Of course. A.J. Brown, number 10. Number 9, Mike Evans. Number 8, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 7, Deebo Samuel. Number 6, Tyreek Hill. Number 5, Stephon Diggs. Number 4, Devontae Adams. Number 3, Cooper Kupp. Number 2, Jettas. Number 1, Jamar Chase.
I have Deebo. I don't have Deebo on my top 10.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
If he's not playing this wide back, and I don't get his rushing ability.
I mean, bro, he had over 1,400.
Yes, I understand that.
Like, that's insane.
It is going into next year with going in next year with Trey Lance though.
I agree.
I think it's a different offense.
But that's your boy.
Which is
why I'm shocked to hear that.
He is my boy, but I think it's going to be, even though it was already rush heavy, I think it's going to be even more rush heavy. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo was a better passer last year than Trey Lance will be this year. I think Trey Lance gives you more explosive plays, and he's obviously has the higher upside in terms of long-term quarterback play, and he could lead you to a Super Bowl, even though Jimmy G has, but just leading you as the quarterback being the main reason.
Let me ask you this, because you used the word upside. Now, I'm going to list you these guys. You tell me which upside you like higher.
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins or Deebo Samuel?
Deebo.
Right.
Well, upside-wise, Deebo is probably...
Just for this upcoming season. Mike Evans.
Deebo. Mike, because Godwin's going to be out, so it's going to be Mike and Russell Gage.
A.J. Brown. Yeah. That answer's easy. Respectfully.
Okay, Deebo.
So I'm just trying to say, to not have him in the top 10, and I'm not going to name any because I feel like these are the guys that are in that conversation.
Well, upside involves Deebo being involved in the rushing game.
But he's going to be involved in the rush game.
He said he doesn't want to do it.
He says he doesn't want to, but end of the day, you're playing for the team. If they're telling you, hey, you're going to run this play, you're going to do it.
If he has a long-term deal, yeah.
Which he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Listen, I get it. Deebo put up a crazy year, 1,400 yards, without a doubt. There's just a lot of moving parts there.
I understand. Listen, if Trey Lance is who you're telling me he's supposed to be, and I'm not out on Trey Lance, you've just made me feel like he's not going to be what you believe he's going to be. I still think he's going to be fine.
Okay.
But I don't think he's going to be the all-world guy you think that he's going to be. No. Heavens no. But I think he'll be fine enough to make Deebo still a top 7 receiver in the NFL.
If Deebo was on this list, he would have been 10. He's probably 11.
Really?
And if we're projecting for next year, if I'm taking Trey Lance, I'm taking him over Sam Darnold.
Of course.
Even though DJ Moore has shown me
and I can't be a hypocrite.
Yards.
There's a reason why I took Stephon Diggs over Tyreek Hill, because Josh Allen is better than Tua. There's no way around that.
That's why even with bad quarterback play, DJ Moore gives me 1,200 yards guaranteed.
Which is fine. Yeah. I understand that logic. That's another thing, though. Is Deebo's ceiling not higher than DJ Moore's? Of course.
Yeah. But that plays into the rushing ability. If you give not even a top 15 quarterback, if you give him the 19th best quarterback in the league, he's been playing. I guess Teddy Bridgewater plays that
Jimmy
case.
G was around that, was he not?
Yeah, but no, I'm saying Sam Darnold and PJ Walker we played with last year.
I understand.
The top bottom 4 quarterback in the league, probably.
Ranking top 5 wide receiver cores. You can start off with number 5, Drew.
All right, so honorable mention, You guys aren't going to like this. The Rams. I do not have them in my top 5. Now, I say this because outside of Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson, they don't have anything. Like, if we're going to give credit to Van Jefferson, who else?
You should give credit to Van Jefferson.
Should I? It's because of Matthew Stafford that Van Jefferson.
Tutu Atwell, too.
Oh, no. Respectfully.
So which is why I was waiting for this one. You're going to love this. Number 5, Denver Broncos. With Sutton, Judy, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, and Alberto, I understand he's not a wide receiver, but he's going to get looks in the pass without a doubt. This is going to be the 5th best, or at least I'm projecting them to be the top 5 wide receiver core in the league right now.
Just guess real quick. How many yards did Van Jefferson have last year?
I'm going to guess 700.
I was going to get 600.
802.
Good for him.
Second season. Better than any Bronco last year.
Jerry Jeudy in his rookie year had more than that.
Honestly,
don't play.
You having the Broncos at 5 is literally ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Because I have my top 5 and I have 3 honorable mentions and neither of them are the Broncos.
I keep forgetting to do honorable mentions. I always feel left out.
Listen, I did this for a reason because I understand how good they're going to be this season. And I'm fine with you calling it ridiculous because when it actually comes into fruition, which it will for sure, I'm going to be smiling.
My issue is
did you see Russell Wilson's video? Let's ride.
That's been his thing. That's been his mantra.
He's interesting guy.
You know what? You know what really kills me about you?
You're not going to be so good.
Really?
Broncos are not going to be good, bro.
That's the thing that kills me. It's Russell Wilson.
So what you have the Broncos finishing? You have them second place?
I'm going to change it right now.
The agenda.
No, but no, literally.
I don't want to hear this. I want to hear Joel's
literally
instead.
having them top 5 is ridiculous.
It's not, because let me hear your honorable mentions.
Well, the Rams were one of my honorable mentions.
Okay, great.
I think
Am I bugging out, bro? The Rams are.
No. I understand your logic.
Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson.
Core.
I know, but
if it was duos,
yes.
it's not a conversation. My Broncos aren't on the
Who's
list.
better, Van
Understand
Jefferson?
that, bro,
you think Van Jefferson is not better than Tim Patrick? I think they're around the same.
Tim Patrick's better.
They're around the same.
This is the thing. Real quick before we move on,
it doesn't matter about receiving cores because you're talking about like, okay, these 4 guys are better than these 4 guys, but Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, end of discussion.
That's where. But you have an honorable mention. Like I'm very interested to see your guys' top 5 list because wide receiver cores, yes.
So who's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Bucs for me. But before I move on, wide receiver cores are. It's because of Godwin. Godwin's, I think, going to miss 8 games.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Okay, I understand.
And then you're looking at Mike Evans and Russell Gage. Good, not spectacular. Because wide receiver cores, like, yes, depth's important. Having Tim Patrick as your 3, KJ Hamler as your 4 is amazing. But do those 4 guys make a bigger impact than Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp do on a game-to-game basis?
I understand. No. Listen, I understand what you're saying for sure. Me saying this is strong.
The Broncos are overrated.
Me projecting. That's
but
fine.
Neither of you guys have the Rams on here.
I have them 6. They're 6.
Blowing my mind.
Like, they just missed it because I'm taking the Broncos in totality because of Russell Wilson and because I understand that Cortland Sutton, with mediocre quarterback play, was able to put up 1,100 receiving yards.
But the thing about it is that, you know what? I'm gonna do my top. I'm just gonna do 5 through 1.
This guy's unbelievable.
How
about you keep some order?
I just said let's stop making it a surprise because I just want to argue with you guys about this right now. I don't want.
What are the rest of your honorable mentions?
The Saints, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave. If that's better than the Broncos, is that not better than the Broncos?
That's horrible.
I don't know what happens with MT, bro. I would take the Broncos wide receiver core.
If Michael Thomas is healthy, you're taking the Broncos receiving core. Russell Wilson would rather throw to
Jarvis
Landry.
Chris Olave is a
Jarvis
rookie.
Landry is better than every receiver on your team outside of Sutton.
You don't know ball.
I would take Judy over. I would definitely take Judy.
You're taking the potential of Judy.
Over
Jarvis Landry is
you projected Breece Hall and Michael Thomas. Excuse me. Running
backs make impacts.
What do you think Jarvis put up last year?
He put up 700 yards.
I was going to guess 6.
570 yards.
He's sorry.
How many play? He played
like
12
games. He played 12 games, so 570 yards. He put up 840 the year before that.
I don't like this disrespect you're giving Jerry Jeudy. I don't care about the rest of the receivers, dude. You're telling me you are a really good wide receiver scouting guy, right? To not see it in Jerry Jeudy allows me to take that away from you.
No, I just think you have blind faith in what Judy's
it's
gonna
not.
Can I hear the rest of your honorable mentions?
Yeah. The Eagles.
I respect
AJ
that.
Brown, Devontae Smith. That's better than the Broncos. Quez Watkins?
Here we go.
I would take AJ. I'm putting the Eagles wide receiver core over the Broncos.
I understand that logic because if we're doing duos,
but I'm not thinking about duos.
It's not just duos. It's
who
would I rather? Which core would I rather take? Am I taking Sutton, Judy, and Patrick over AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins? But Quez Watkins is a better deep threat than Hamler.
A big thing about it too that goes into it is the quarterback play. Ultimately, Russell Wilson's going to elevate all these guys.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I had 3 honorable mentions. The Saints, Eagles, quarterback play is mid-tier, right? Rams have Stafford, who's better than Russell Wilson. Now, let's get into number 5.
That's neck and neck.
Yeah, come on.
Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins. He's a good to great quarterback. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne. That's a better 3 than anything Denver has.
That's definitely a really good
Number
one.
4, Las Vegas Raiders. Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow.
It's a little low.
Outside of the first 2, it gets shaky. Demarcus Robinson, Keelan Cole. They're at least
I threw Waller
manageable.
in there, which is why I have them higher.
I don't. This is receivers.
He lines up on the outside,
but he's
more
a tight
than
end.
he does.
He's
in
a tight end. He's a tight end.
I guess, but let's be real.
He's a tight end though. That's why. But Raiders to me,
you like love pushing the boundaries. Lamar's in the backfield. Darren Waller's a wide receiver.
I do because I understand that he lines up more on the outside.
I know, but he's a tight end, bro.
I guess
he's a tight end.
It's like Gronkowski's better than a lot of wide receivers. He's a tight end.
He's a tight end.
But even still, Waller actually lines up on the outside.
I know. So is Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, but they're still.
And I don't think that he's a tight end.
But they're tight ends.
They're labeled a tight end.
It's
for
still
money.
difference in position.
If this was like pass catchers, I'd let you get away with it. But this is very specific wide receiver core.
Come on, we understand what lining up has to do. But fine.
Well, whatever. I don't even have Waller on here, but if you have Waller on here, Vikings and Raiders clear the Broncos.
Raiders clear them for sure.
Number 3, Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill,
like
Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson.
I like it a lot.
Preston Williams.
I like it.
They're the only team that has horrible quarterback play in my top 5.
Horrible?
But the Raiders have Vikings, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins. Number 2, Tampa Bay, fully healthy. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, Scotty Miller, Tom Brady, elite quarterback, best of all time. Number 1, Cincinnati.
Sure.
Joe Burrow, who's leaps and bounds above Tua, and above your boy too, Russell Wilson.
Leaps and
Jamar
bounds.
Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
This is number 1.
Yeah. So
that's
I'm just wondering.
That's easy.
Where do the Broncos fit in the top 5?
They're number 5.
Because I literally named all 8 teams I named.
And I disagree.
I don't
with
even bat an eye before
Which
I think about the
disagree
Broncos.
The honorable mentions that you mentioned.
Well, just talk about top 5. Who in the top 5 do you disagree?
Well,
with?
I have the Broncos at 5. Did I say they were 1? Question.
But which team?
No. I have a question. Did I have them 1?
You don't have them 1.
I have them what? I have them what?
You have them 5.
5.
But
Okay.
who did it make it over?
I have the Rams that are honorable mentions. I have them over the Rams.
Give your list.
Okay, so exactly. You're just chatting. Here we go. Number 4, the Dolphins. Number 3, the Buccaneers. Number 2, the Raiders. Number 1, the Bengals. There's really no issue other than you have Minnesota was the one name that you gave me that I felt. I felt that one. Because Thielen, I have to throw respect on his name, but his injuries scare me. But I can't be a hypocrite because Judy missed some time, Son missed some time, Hamler missed some time. That's the one that you said, and I said, you know what? I'm willing to have that conversation. Rams
it's not a conversation. They have Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson is amazing. He's all world. So is Cooper Kupp, but that didn't stop me from putting the Broncos over them.
Well, yeah.
Because I understand in totality, I love our depth, and I love the fact that Russell Wilson's going to elevate these guys. I'm projecting them to all be really good.
So Stafford's not elevating Allen Robinson.
For sure he is.
Okay. So Kupp, let's say, has 1,300 yards. Robinson has 1,000 yards.
Probably will.
You're taking still the Broncos' depth.
Because Jerry Jeudy...
So you're taking role players over stars.
Jerry Judy's a star.
No, he's not.
He's a star in the making.
Okay.
Cortland's son will have over 1,000 yards. Jerry Jeudy can have clean over 1,250. You have Tim Patrick that can put up...
Oh my God! No, I'm done.
You said Gabe Davis can put up 1,200 yards.
You said Jerry Judy's having 1,200 yards. Okay.
With Russell Wilson?
Not only did you say that.
I'm going to remember this moment.
His face was
I'm going to remember this moment.
No, because I'm baffled.
Because you don't understand how good Jerry Jeudy is.
I just don't understand.
And Russell Wilson, because that's what it comes down to
I just
also.
don't understand how you can put the Broncos wide receiver core over the Vikings with Jefferson, Thielen, Osborne, over the Saints, MT, Landry Olave,
Dude, stop
over
it.
the
You're not-
Eagles,
you're not hitting
AJ
anyone
Brown,
with them.
Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins,
Quez
over
Watkins
the
is
Rams,
someone I'm supposed to
Cooper
worry
Kupp,
about.
Allen
You're
Robinson.
mentioning KJ Hamler.
And Tim Patrick also. Tim Patrick's leaps and bounds better
He's
than
wide
Quez.
receiver
Quez Watkins is one of the fastest receivers in the NFL.
And Tim Patrick is right there. Excuse me. And
Quez is
KJ
nice.
KJ Ham is right.
Quez
I'm taking Osborne over him
Devontae
easily.
Devontae Smith has the potential to be a top 15 receiver.
And so does
AJ
Jerry Jeudy.
Brown
He does
is
too.
that right
So
now.
does Jerry Jeudy.
Like Devontae Smith set the record for most receiving yards or receptions for a rookie wide receiver in Eagles history last
Yeah, he
year.
did.
Like,
And
He led them in
and it's
everything.
going to have to be a
Receiving
matter of
receptions,
Jalen Hurts
touchdowns.
doing it.
like
You understand
I
what I'm
like,
saying there?
It's just your list is.
But this
It's
is
very
also
biased.
this is also not.
It's not biased. I have them 5.
But this list,
are
hold
we-
on, real quick. This list is not what core has the best numbers. It is who is the best wide receiving core, regardless of quarterback play. And this list has to do with stars. That's why
The
the Eagles
Broncos
is
are
fine,
not
'cause-
here.
Yes, sure.
This is me
Jerry
projecting.
Jeudy and Sutton are in that range with Devontae Smith, but AJ Brown is that solidified,
right.
bona fide wide
100%.
receiver one the
I agree
Broncos
with that.
don't have.
I agree.
It's hard to have me in their top 5, even like their top 7, 8, because you don't have. I think Jeudy has the potential to do it.
Wait.
We've seen Sutton be a really good receiver, but they haven't shown me to be a wide receiver one like
Yo,
all
hold
these
up,
other guys.
Hold up.
Son was a wide receiver.
Did you
one.
give your
1,100,
top
6
5?
touchdowns.
I haven't
Did you
yet.
give your top
I
5 yet? Give your top 5 real quick.
Okay.
Then I have this thought.
Yeah, I had the Bucs at 5 just because of Chris Godwin's injury. When he's healthy, they might be top 3 in this. 4, I have the Vikings. You have Justin Jefferson, my best receiver in the league. Adam Thielen is a top 3 wide receiver 2 in the league. KJ Osborne year 2 broke out last season, 50 receptions, 7 touchdowns. I have the Dolphins at 3. I think they have the most electric wide receiver duo maybe we have ever seen, going back to like the Chris Carter, Randy Moss days. We don't need to talk about what Tyreek does. We mentioned him in the top 10. Jalen Waddle had one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons of all time, breaking the receptions record. Number 2, I have the Rams. I don't know how they didn't even make you guys' top 5.
They were
That
6
is
for me.
They were number
crazy.
6.
You have Cooper Kupp, who just put up the best wide receiver season in NFL history. You have Allen Robinson, who before this past
We
season,
have to see it.
2019-2020 with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky, he averaged 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 7
Justin
touchdowns.
Fields is not a bum.
He's not, but there was obviously
No, he
something,
was the worst
there was
quarterback
something
last
else-
year. He was
there
the
was
worst
something
quarterback.
else going on in
Mooney
Chicago.
still had over 1,000.
There was
I don't
something else
disagree.
going in Chicago.
Fine.
Because those last 2
Fine.
years, 2019-2020, Al Robinson was a dog. Number 1 is the Bengals.
I agree.
For one, the Broncos' weapons have gotten so over. I won't even say the weapons because I love the backfield. I like the tight end. I like Dehls. I like Albert O a lot. The Broncos' receiving room has to be the most overrated in football. They made number 5 for you. Vikings for me, number 5 better. Saints better. Eagles
Vikings
better.
really-
Rams are better. Hold up,
They're
Joe. We're not talking about production. We're talking about just which core are you taking. The Seahawks have a better wide receiver core than the Broncos.
They don't.
DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That's easy.
If this was duos, I'm not even thinking twice. Broncos don't make my list.
But you're worrying about like the 7th and 8th man on a roster. If you're talking NBA, you're worried about the 7th and 8th man and not
What are we
the 2
talking-
superstars that you need to win a
we're
chip.
gonna run sets where we have 4 wide receivers on the field. We're gonna
You will, but like your wide receiver 4 is going to have what, 500 yards, 600 yards at most.
with KJ Hamler being the deep ball threat that he is.
What, you think 4 guys can have 1,000 yards?
Not 1,000. I'm not saying that even Tim Patrick's going to have 1,000 yards. He could be on that cusp of the 850 to 900. KJ Hamler could be on that 700 range.
And what happens to your tight ends? They just don't get used.
Alberto's going to get his for sure.
You're going to run the ball, believe it or not.
I no doubt about that.
Like how many passing yards Russell Wilson at 5K?
My point being is the depth that we have is a reason why I have them number 5. And I'm also, which is what we should be doing, projecting with Russell Wilson.
Word.
These guys are going to 100%.
No, it's just funny because technically, if we're projecting, and I know Russell Wilson has a large part in your evaluation, but if we're projecting, if we look at the Broncos wide receiving room, so Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, if we look at that core in a vacuum compared to this other one, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Braxton Berrios.
Broncos clear.
It's not that far. It's really not that far.
Broncos
if
clear.
Garrett Wilson is who we think he is, and Elijah Moore has a second-year breakout, Corey Davis had 1,000 yards basically before he came to the Jets. It's not. Our cores are not that far off.
No, not at all.
Not at all is crazy.
We have both cores that have question marks.
Elijah Moore is more proven than Jerry Jeudy.
Listen,
Elijah Moore is more proven than Jerry Jeudy.
The only reason that you have this, like any type of ammunition behind Jerry Jeudy,
because Elijah Moore is good. That's why.
I don't disrespect
Jerry Judy's
Elijah.
a beast.
No,
I like Jerry Jeudy.
800 his rookie season with Drew Lock as his quarterback. He got hurt last year.
Yeah. He was great, week 1.
There is no doubt in my mind that with Russell Wilson, he is going to have a lot of people quiet.
And I didn't think, for the record, I didn't think 1250 was crazy, but the face he gave me just cracked me up.
Gabe Davis.
I think it's crazy.
No, Gabe Davis can have 1,200 yards, but Jerry Jeudy
I didn't
can't.
say 1,200.
I don't know what world.
I said 1,000.
I don't know what world where you think Gabe Davis
has over
1,200.
12.
I said 12.
You said 12.
You low-key might have.
It literally just happened this episode.
You low-key might have.
Well, I'll go back and I'll see it. I doubt I said 1,200 though. We talked about who would have a better season between Gabe Davis and somebody else.
Trust me, you said 1,200.
I think you said it in a joking-ish manner, but 1,200, I think.
No,
you did mention.
this is the exact same. There's a world where Gabe Davis has 1,200 receiving yards.
He might be onto something.
I don't know if I said that.
So
I'll be
again,
honest.
Do you think what's the gap between Jerry Jeudy and Gabe Davis?
He's saying there is none because Gabe Davis is better apparently.
Gabe Davis is better.
This guy really, it's something.
Gabe Davis is better than Jerry Jeudy.
Yep,
I think
so. I think he is. He
showed
more in that.
So
he showed more. He showed more in that
receiver list.
He showed more in that one playoff game than Jeudy has entire career.
I don't care about one game. We saw Chris Matthews, Seattle versus New England, have 130 yards.
Gabe Davis, when he got the snap count, he was producing at a high level.
Bro.
But you want to sleep on Gabe Davis, that's fine. But like I said, if you compare the Broncos and Jets receiving core, it's really not that far off.
I agree.
It's literally not that far off.
But here's the difference. Russell Wilson.
Because let's just say
Fair.
Garrett Wilson, if we're projecting, right? Garrett Wilson, if you think Judy's that star, he's on Judy's level. That's what he should be, right? Then it's Elijah Moore versus Sutton. You think Sutton clears that easily coming off that ACL?
I need to see Elijah Moore because he also struggled with staying on the field last season.
Okay, and then Corey Davis versus
and Cortland
Tim
Sutton
Patrick.
put up 1,100 with Drew Lock.
And then
2019.
Yeah,
for sure.
I understand what you're saying.
2020,
but
2019. You're right. Apologize. Yeah.
Like you're right, but also Elijah Moore put up 600 yards with Joe
he's a
Flacco.
beast. I respect him. I respect
and
Elijah Moore.
Like Zach Wilson, I love Zach Wilson, but he was statistically one of the worst quarterbacks in the
and he's not Russell
league
Wilson,
last year.
Which is why I'm allowed to project
like Elijah Moore
Broncos are gonna be better
consistently won against guys like Trey White.
Elijah Moore's
last year.
He got open.
Elijah Moore's nice.
He was always
like
open.
he won against guys like Xavier Howard, Jason Jackson.
You got the Bengals won?
Yeah.
You're not worried about Auden Tate leaving?
No, that top 3 is fine to me.
Cool. Just making sure.
Auden Tate would have been a huge decision. They might have just been
surprised the Falcons didn't make
0.
this list.
They might have been 0. Maybe. What's a number higher than 1? No, but yeah. So that's what I think. You know,
the one that you guys really said that I can definitely entertain was the Vikings. No doubt about it. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson.
I think the Raiders
KJ Osborne.
too.
Oh, Raiders are over them.
Oh, you did. I didn't have.
I have the Raiders too.
I didn't have the Raiders on my
I mean,
list.
I personally think there are 10 receiving cores you get to before you name the Broncos.
10's insane.
No, I have 8 here,
and I disagree with.
I don't have
Saints. The Saints is
the Saints is questionable.
That's a reach.
The other 7 are valid.
The Seahawks,
the Eagles,
the Seahawks would be
valid.
9. The
Quez
Seahawks
Watkins
would be 9.
gives me pushback because I
but
do
you're
like
talking KJ Hamler
and Tim Patrick.
Okay, fine, but we're talking wide receiver 3 versus wide receiver 4 between Tim Patrick and Quez. Oh, I'm sorry, they're both wide receiver 3s. So
Tim Patrick has been a wide receiver
yes,
too.
but the only thing putting the Broncos over the Eagles is wide receiver 4 KJ Hamler coming off torn ACL.
No, Tim Patrick, who's better than Quez Watkins, and in my opinion, significantly better than him. And the fact that we have KJ Hamler as an add-in, we have depth at the wide receiver position.
You do. You have depth, but you don't have the star power.
But yet, because we haven't seen it, but I'm projecting Jerry Jeudy to give us that star power. And Cortland Sutton's no bum.
He's not. They're both good receivers.
I had the Bengals, Bucs, Dolphins, Raiders, Vikings, Saints, Eagles, Rams. That's 8. Seahawks, I think they're a better receiving core.
They're not.
That's 9. I mean, you
could definitely make the argument.
You would definitely trade. You would right now. You would trade all 4 of your receivers for DK and Tyler Lockett.
I wouldn't.
Okay, all right.
The Saints is very iffy.
Chargers.
No, thank you.
Mike Will, Keenan Allen.
Mike Will's overrated.
Close.
Jerry Jeudy's gonna be better than Mike Williams this
We're
year.
taking the Saints off this.
Commanders.
No.
McLaurin, Dotson, Curtis Samuel.
Absolutely not.
Diami Brown.
No.
It's a possibility.
No.
Like, it's really a possibility.
It's not.
They have the 49ers. Debo Ayuk.
No.
What do you mean no?
I'm saying no.
Ayuk is better than everybody on your team
No,
at
he's
the
not.
receiver position.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's not.
Brandon Ayuk he was in a doghouse and still got 800
What about the
yards.
Cardinals? Hop Hollywood, AJ Green, Rondo.
Well, them too. So that's clean 10.
Cardinals I can entertain, but that 3-4 is mid. But that 1-2 is fantastic. I can entertain that one too.
Yeah, that's about it.
Minnesota and the Cardinals I can entertain. And I can't entertain the Eagles because I'm not a Hurts believer.
But this isn't about the quarterback. This is about just the talent of the wide receivers.
But the quarterback impacts the wide receiver.
But that's not what this exercise
I
is.
understand, which is why, listen, I still have the Dolphins here, regardless of, I still believe in Tua, which is why I still
Yeah, I
have
have
them.
the Dolphins third.
Rightfully so.
It's a very
Yeah.
explosive.
That's why, like,
receiver
if you talk about quarterback play, I mean, the Dolphins are not top 5, right?
I mean,
Probably.
you have, regardless, even if you don't believe in Tua, Waddle broke the receptions record with him.
You don't have to believe
He
in Tua to
won't-
know these
yeah,
receivers are going to go dumb.
Jalen Waddle's not going to get those receptions next season.
He might.
He's not going to have 100 and
No, he's
whatever,
going to have,
reason-
85?
probably.
I mean, the reason why he was able to get that because they schemed it up that way.
And
I
they're
don't
gonna
think they're going to run the same scheme this upcoming season.
you don't trade for
and
Tyreek Hill.
I
pay
hope
him $30
they
million.
don't run the same scheme.
I mean, one, the personnel's different. You have a
For sure.
improved offensive line.
100%.
Waddle's not going to be catching bubble screens 10 times a game.
No, he's not going to have the same receptions, but he could definitely have more yards.
No, yeah, I agree. But we're talking about the receptions.
Oh, no,
you know,
I'm
in
with
this
you.
case.
I'm with you.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't feel like quarterback play should be taken into account when we're doing this. It's
I
the
agree.
talent of the receivers,
I agree.
in my opinion. And even then, all these teams have great quarterbacks. Bengals, Bucs, Raiders, Vikings, Rams. Eagles, Saints don't, and we know Miami doesn't, but you know, that's
The Saints still?
the Saint Jameis is actually better than Tua, so maybe.
He's not.
So, you know, Jameis is really, really good. I wouldn't be surprised.
like Jameis.
I was not expecting this list to get so heated.
Oh, I knew it.
The Broncos,
I knew it.
the Broncos at 5 is
That's why I didn't mention it to anyone.
it's crazy.
The Buccaneers signed Akiem Hicks to a 1-year deal worth $10 million, which means they're probably not bringing back Ndamukong Suh. He won't
End of
be
an era.
back. But Akiem Hicks is a very good replacement. Now, what are your thoughts on this? I'll start with you, Joe.
It was a huge signing for the Bucs. You know, Ndamukong Suh is someone who's still out there that they haven't re-signed, and not that I was worried about their interior defensive line. You have Vita Vea there, who is honestly in my lifetime probably the best interior defensive lineman in terms of stopping the run. Just like he's 350 pounds and moves so quickly.
So he's better than Aaron Donald?
No, I'm just saying in terms of like
Stopping.
Aaron-
That's what I'm saying. Stopping the run.
I'm
Aaron
saying
Donald's
like
damn good.
bringing up bodies. Like you need like 2-3. You need it for Donald too, but just like plugging up the interior.
I know exactly
I
what you're
think
saying.
I do think he's better than Donald, but Donald hasn't beaten everything else. Hicks, I mean, he's a bit older. He's past his prime, 32 years old. You know, I think he made a Pro Bowl in 2018, maybe even All Pro. He was spectacular that year, but he was still a top 25 run defender according to PFF last year. And you know, the Bucs, while their secondary is the questionable part of their team, really in general, their front seven is solid. You know, their front seven they've had one of the best rush defense over these last couple of years. It takes me back to the 2019 season when they played against the Panthers. CMC's ridiculous year where they held them to
20 yards? Yeah,
20,
something
30 rushing yards. That just really showed like how dominating they really can be. I mean, they formed the best, at least run stopping duo in the league with Vita Vea and Akiem Hicks. I don't think they have the best front seven. They're probably top 3. So the other teams I had that came to mind, the Niners were one with Bosa, Armstead, and Fred Warner. But when I was going through all of them, I think it's the Saints. And I think the Saints might clear everybody by a pretty wide margin. Just looking at their lineup, Marcus Davenport, David Onyemata, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Pete Warner, who was a second-round pick in 2021, played really well too. I mean, that's 4 guys. Like 4 of these guys might make the Pro Bowl next year. The Bucs, I believe, especially those 2, I believe in the surrounding pieces, the linebackers, the edge guys like Joe Tyron, who took in the first round, who I'm sure they're still high on, didn't have the best rookie season ever. I just worry about them a bit more. I think the Saints, though, are more proven and have shown it year after year.
Saints is a really good name. To just speak about Akiem Hicks joining the Buccaneers, it's unfortunate for Ndamukong Suh. I feel like he actually made a home in Tampa Bay, and this was where I wouldn't say he played his best football, but definitely left his biggest impact for the fact that they won a championship, and he played a huge part in that defense the year that they beat Kansas City. You bring in Akiem Hicks, you bring in some veteran to the lineup, and you're not going to have to scheme for Akiem Hicks, and I feel like that's going to allow Akiem to definitely thrive. Where you have Shaq Barrett, JPP on the line, you're not thinking about Akiem Hicks, and I feel like it's gonna benefit him as well. But do I think that they have the best front seven in football? I'm going with the Niners. And Nick Bosa is among the 3 best edge rushers in the game. He's unbelievable at that position. You have Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, D Ford, Fred Warner, who's arguably the best middle linebacker in football, Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shaair, who's not the best, but he's definitely average at coverage, stopping the run. I feel like the Niners defensively last season carried the football team as deep as they did into the playoffs, and I have to respect this defense just because of that.
I think this was a great signing, especially since Ndamukong Suh's not back. I don't think Akiem Hicks, he can play on the outside, on the inside. I think with the Bucs, they'll probably use him more as an edge. You have Vita Vea, you have Logan Hall, who they drafted in the first round, or at the top of the second, one of those who was a really outstanding player who's from Utah. And you still have Shaq Barrett. William Golson is still there. Joe Tryon. They have a lot of depth here. I think this was a home run signing. Akiem Hicks was far better than Ndamukong Suh this past season. He did get injured last year. He battled through groin and ankle injuries, but in the 9 games he played, 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hits. He has missed 20 games in the past 3 seasons, but with a team like the Bucs, they're not looking for somebody to come in and play every single snap of every single game. They have enough depth to where Akiem Hicks can rest. He doesn't have to play necessarily every single game. They could lose him for a couple of games, and he could come back and be fine. This just makes their run defense that much better. Last year was the 3rd ranked in the NFL. I think they're going to be that next year, probably 3rd or even higher. They're one of the best run-stopping units in the NFL.
For sure.
In terms of best front seven, what's holding me back is their linebackers. I like Levante David, but Devin White I think is a liability.
Really?
Yeah.
He did have a rough season last year. Disappointing, I should
say. He
say.
has the tools. Like, he's obviously athletic as hell.
And I made a mistake. JPP is a free agent, so he's not going to come back. So that just makes us Akiem Hicks.
I think Akiem Hicks, he's going to play mostly on the interior. I don't think he's going to move out to edge. He's 330.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could do both, personally.
I mean, I think he's going to play.
At that age,
you can show different formations.
I understand what you're saying.
No,
you can definitely move them around. Yeah,
they must play 3-4.
For me, it's just Devin White is what's holding me back from this, and I think I like Shaq Barrett. Is he one of those top of the end elite guys?
No, he's not.
I don't think so.
He's really good.
I think he's great, but he's not an elite guy. So that's why I think they're not one of the best front sevens in football. They're one of the best, but they're not the best. I think there are some other teams that have a better case.
I think they're probably 2nd or 3rd best. Like, I think the Saints are probably 1, but you're gonna have the Bucs right up there, and I agree. The Niners, who I mentioned too. Those are the 2 other teams that really stuck out to me when I was going through everyone.
So other big-time news that happened this past week, Aaron Donald was on I Am Athlete podcast and said that he's at peace with his career. If the Rams and him don't get a deal done, he's at peace. After winning a Super Bowl, he wants to go back out there. He wants to taste it again, but he's at peace. So what do you think this means for the Rams and Donald, who he has no guaranteed money left on his contract, so he wants a new deal or at least guaranteed money? What does this mean? Do you think Aaron Donald is a chance that he doesn't play next season?
There is a chance. For sure there's a chance. Because I understand, after listening to the interview, that Aaron Donald's definitely at peace at this point in his life. He's accomplished everything there is to accomplish for a defensive player. He has reached the mountaintop. He has a Super Bowl. You could debate that he should have been Super Bowl MVP. He has the All-Pros. He has Defensive Player of the Year awards. He has done everything that you could ever ask of a football player. And he's done it in a span of, 8-9 seasons? The efficiency that Aaron Donald has shown on the football field is second to none. You could debate that he is the best defensive football player of all time already. He doesn't have anything else to prove. He understands that. He knows that I have the Super Bowl. I have my resume that could go up against any player on the defensive side of the ball. There's none for me really to show anymore. If the money's there, the money's there. I'd love to run it back because he says that I've tasted what it is to have a Super Bowl, and I want to chase that feeling again. And that's one of the only reasons why he's even contemplating coming back. but it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't suit up again. He's done everything that you can ask.
And he said during the interview, he came into the NFL preparing to play 8 seasons. He said, once I do 8 seasons, I'm going to retire, and that's going to be it. And just so happened that 8th season, they went out and won a Super Bowl. You know, he won a couple years prior with Jared Goff in the way, didn't win, lost to New England that year. I think there is a really good chance because, you know, he had that Super Bowl run. That was probably the last thing on his bucket list to really check off. I mean, if he wants to go for longevity records, like most sacks ever, most pressures ever, like, sure, he could do it. But Aaron Donald, he's already being compared as the best defensive player of all time. He's already getting talks with Reggie White and DeMarcus Lawrence's and Deion Sanders in terms of being the best. Lawrence Taylor. Did I say DeMarcus Lawrence? Lawrence Taylor.
He's sorry if that came off rude.
What did I say? DeMarcus Lawrence?
So
Lawrence
Cowboys
Taylor.
edge rusher.
Lawrence Taylor, who was I meant to say. He's already getting compared to those guys only being 8 seasons in the league. So for him, he already knows how dominant he is. And it was funny. I watched most of the interview. Like, he's such like a humble guy. Like, they were talking. He's like, you know, when we're comparing you to Lawrence Taylor's and Reggie White's, he's like, I think I do a good job. You know, I'm going to let everyone say what they want to say. I'm like, bro, if I'm Aaron Donald, like, I'm going up there. I'm talking my shit.
Yapping.
Yeah, I'm talking my shit. But no, he's a really humble guy. I mean, he's going to want to get paid as the highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL. That was one of the questions. I think it might have been Brandon Marshall who asked him. He said, like, what do you think about these non-QB players getting paid like quarterbacks? And his answer was, you know, I make plays, like, I might not make every play like quarterback, so they should get paid more than me, but we should be at least in the conversation with them, right? Like, he goes out there, he made the game-winning play more or less on Joe Burrow to secure that victory. And he's not touching the ball every play like Matt Stafford does for him, but he deserves to get, Tyreek got $30 million a year. Aaron Donald's probably looking at it like, yeah, I should be getting like 35 million a year. I'm the best defensive player of our generation, arguably of all time. So I think he's at peace with it. Sean McVay did say on Wednesday that they're making good progress towards a deal. I don't know if it's long-term, 1 year, whatever it might be. But I think that having that ring, looking at the NFC, seeing how wide open it is, I think there's a chance maybe he gets like a 1-year deal for a ridiculous $35 million all guaranteed and tries to run it back for one more season. Because without him, like, this team changes a lot. You take away the most dominated player probably at every position off the field. Like, that Rams defense is going to come down a ton.
I don't think this is a big deal because I think the Rams are going to get a deal done with Aaron Donald. There's no way they don't get a deal done with Aaron Donald. He's open to it. All he wants is guaranteed money. The Rams cap situation is not the best, but teams like the Saints have shown in the past that doesn't really matter. If teams want to do it, they're going to get it done. They're going to find a way to get it done. Aaron Donald's playing this season. The Rams are going to find a way to give him all the guaranteed money he wants. If he wants a 10-year deal, give it to him. It doesn't matter. Like, you're right. He's been the best defensive player in football for, I would say, 5 years. Five years without a doubt. He's been the best in football. So this is a no-brainer. If Aaron Donald doesn't play for some reason, are the Rams still contenders? Now, if you believe in Matthew Stafford as much as you believe in Matthew Stafford,
the answer's no.
You might still say yes.
The answer's no.
Wait, I'm sorry. No. What was your question?
Are they still contenders?
No.
Without Donald?
Without Aaron Donald, the best defensive player arguably in the history of the game.
In a weak NFC.
Sure, they could be contenders.
What? Okay, who? So,
but they're definitely not the title favorites that they are right now. They're not the favorites to come out of the NFC anymore.
Who in the NFC jumps over them without Donald? The Bucs?
Easy. The Bucs.
Bucs easy.
You could debate the Packers.
Packers debatable. Niners debatable. Cardinals.
You could. You're taking away their best defensive player. I
understand that.
Comes to offense versus offense.
Donald without question makes a huge impact. But you just look at the rest of the NFC and it's like even without him, like there's.
It's like you got to understand. Aaron Donald makes that entire line better.
I agree.
I don't know, man. That is one of the hugest losses a team could ever see.
I don't see them losing Donald and now they're out of the playoffs.
No, I don't think so. But they're not.
But I could see them losing Stafford and having a backup and being out the playoffs.
For sure. I understand what you're saying. But I'll say this: I'm confident that the Rams could go back to the Super Bowl right now without Donald. I promise you, that is not my opinion.
Even without Donald, I still think the only team with or without him that really competes is the Bucs.
We'll see, because I'm not. Can you tell me another player on that defensive line that you're worried about outside of Aaron Donald?
No, Leonard Floyd.
But not. I mean, Donald is one of one.
But
what does Floyd look like without Donald?
He was a great player in Chicago.
I know, but it changes
Khalil
now
Mack was
when
also
when
there.
you don't have when you don't have
Akiem
the
Hicks.
best defensive line, you know what I'm saying, like on the team. Like Leonard Floyd now gets all the attention as being the primary guy you have to worry about every time you snap the ball.
Listen, I definitely think that they could be a playoff team, but they're not the Super Bowl contenders that I have them today.
I was wondering why you gave me such a crazy look when I said Deion Sanders, and I was like, oh, I said DeMarcus Lawrence.
No, Deion, obviously. That's prime time.
That's why I was like, wow.
You have Lawrence Taylor, you have Prime, and now you have Aaron Donald, right? Those are the three grouped together. And Reggie White, you got to show him respect. Me and Joe Green.
I mean, Donald leaves their defensive line is because they don't have no depth.
That's my point.
It's not just that. It's just they don't have no depth.
Correct.
So it'd be Ashawn Robinson, Greg Gaines, Bobby Brown, and Leonard Floyd.
It would be mid.
It's ugly.
I think they'd have a bottom 20 defense, but their offense would still be top 5.
For sure. And you can't forget that obviously Jalen Ramsey's still on that defense, and he's going to have his impact, but no Aaron Donald. It's going to be a lot of...
Eric Weddle retired again?
He'll probably be back week 18, excuse me.
Yeah, nah, that's... I hope he comes back, man. You know, like...
So of course, as a fan.
But it's also like... I like those players, like... Going to the come to mind, like him, Calvin, Barry Sanders, like the ones that go out like being the best player at their position, some of them best players in the NFL. Luck, word. Like there's some part of me that I'm like, you know what, like go out on your time. Don't miss the last 3 years because of injury or you weren't yourself. Like you made your money and he could do whatever he wants for the rest of his life, being 29 years old right now, right?
You're a fan of that, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. You know? But I understand. But
also
exactly
he has a chance to probably sign a 3-year, $100 million deal.
It does break my heart. Like when Calvin retired.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
I was broken. I was sad.
Yeah, I know.
When Luck retired, I was sad. I hate to see these guys go out that young, but I understand.
You think that Andrew Luck at his best is better than Joe Burrow now?
Yes. Eyes closed.
He went from literally I
they
guess
were
Burrow
2
Burrow did a year 2.
Fair.
You know?
And he went to Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not going to get crazy.
No, Andrew Luck, yes.
It's not with your eyes closed, though.
No, it's with my eyes closed.
It's really not.
What's Luck's best year? You know the numbers?
I think it's 2017.
He had 40 something.
Or 2016. 2017, 2016.
In 2014, he put up, got lost.
4,700
yards, 40 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. And the year the year before he retired, 4,600 yards, 39 touchdowns, 15. Yeah, no, it's Luck. It's Luck right now.
I could tear up right now.
11-5, 11-5, 11-5, injury, 8-7, 10-6.
Luck or Herbert?
Luck.
Herbert's on his way.
I feel like, here's my honest opinion on it. I think Andrew Luck was phenomenal, but he does get a bit overrated because of the fascination factor with him.
Nah, he was amazing. No way around it.
I'll be honest, bro.
No, he was amazing, but his best seasons are what Herbert's doing in his first 2 seasons.
What Herbert just put up last year?
36 touchdowns, I believe.
He had 47 and 40.
What year?
2014, his 3rd season.
Justin Herbert's doing it in his 2nd season.
Oh, 2nd versus 3rd. Come on, bro. In his 2nd season, Herbert
threw 38 touchdowns, 15 picks.
How many yards?
5,000.
Yeah. He's right there. But Luck did it and went 11-5
Listen,
years.
I'm not saying my eyes.
So now winning matters.
Winning has always mattered.
Because Burrow won 10 games and made the Super Bowl.
Winning has always
for him, it doesn't matter.
No, you're the one who flip-flop on winning matters or winning does not matter.
No, because
that's why you put Burrow over these guys.
So why do you have Burrow low then? Why do you have Burrow lower if winning matters?
My mindset has always been winning is a part of the equation. It's not the only thing. It's not the most important thing, but it's a part of the equation.
But when their stats are identical and then one guy wins, you don't have Burrow over them still.
Was his stats identical to Justin Herbert?
They were.
Were they?
Yeah.
What was Burrow's numbers last year?
So Herbert, 38 touchdowns, 15 picks. Burrow threw,
I think he had 14.
34 touchdowns, 14 picks, 4,600 yards.
Yeah, Herbert was a little bit better.
And 70% completion percentage. Herbert's at 66.
Herbert was better with definitely a better line for sure.
Yeah.
Significantly worse weapons.
Okay,
yeah,
and
I mean they weren't bums.
They're
not bums, but T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
The drop off from Herbert's weapons to, the drop off from Burrow's weapons to Herbert's weapons is much less significant than the drop off Herbert would have from his offensive line to Burrow's offensive line.
I agree with that statement.
Now he's got probably.
I agree with that statement.
Even though Herbert's shown he can do it without a good offensive line his rookie year, he showed it.
He was amazing.
Listen, I had like Burrow. I don't remember my top 10, but they were in like between like 2 spots of each other.
Herbert 97.
I had Burrow 10. You're right. I did have
Herbert
Burrow 10.
97 passer rating, Burrow 108.
What was that?
Herbert had a 97 passer rating, Burrow had a 108
Good for
this
him.
past year. No, I'm just saying because one guy goes over because of winning, but Burrow.
Like I said, winning is part of the equation.
I don't know
It's
why
not the
Burrow doesn't
only
get the
thing.
benefit of the doubt in these conversations.
How
What do you mean
doesn't
he does?
He definitely does.
That's all he gets.
No, he doesn't.
I'm a clown for having him 10. I'm not even going to cap.
That's way too low.
I'm funny as hell for that.
I had Burrow 9.
I love my agenda. Let me see this. Where
I just hope this guy gets a chance, man. This
Who?
guy's Jordan Love.
Oh my
I just hope he gets a chance to make his mark in the league.
Jordan, you're lucky that this guy's on the show because I promise you wouldn't have a topic today.
Yeah, at Herbert 5, Burrow 10.
Jordan Love.
That's bad.
Now, A.J. Dillon at OTAs said that Jordan Love, he's got his swagger back. That's what he said about Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love, he hasn't gotten an opportunity to start full-time because Aaron Rodgers is there in Green Bay. Now, they extended Rodgers. Love is in year 3. Is he ever going to get a chance to play?
Well, I look at it like this. Rodgers sat 3 years behind Brett Favre before he got his opportunity. Now, Jordan Love's now going into year 3. Now, the difference is Rodgers is coming off back-to-back MVPs. This was unexpected of them, given at the time Rodgers was seemingly dropping off. Wasn't the Rodgers that we had been accustomed to for however many years in a row. But instead, they draft Jordan Love. Now, Rodgers is now back-to-back, and he's put him in a situation where you don't need Jordan Love. And now you've wasted that pick to a degree. Do I think he'll get his opportunity once Rodgers is done with football? And you can't rush Jordan Love back into this lineup, especially when Rodgers is coming off back-to-back MVPs. You simply cannot do it because then the franchise looks bad. And then if Jordan Love's not who the Packers were thinking that he is, now you not only folded with drafting Jordan Love in the first round, but then you didn't add depth to the wide receiver position for Aaron Rodgers to potentially succeed and bring home a Super Bowl. I think he will have his time, but it's not in the near future. Well, maybe I can't say not in the near future because we didn't speak about it, but Rodgers was actually just asked the question of, how much longer is that time coming? And he said that he can see his time coming up relatively soon. So maybe it's not the end of next year, maybe it's the following year, but that window for Rodgers' career is closing maybe sooner than we're expecting. So maybe Love has his chance next season, or the following season, excuse me. And who really knows other than Aaron Rodgers? But I think he has his chance with the Packers for sure. But it's not next season for sure.
He gets a chance for one reason. Teams are desperate for quarterbacks.
Okay.
They always are. They will be, especially as a quarterback-driven league, more now than ever.
Don't regret what you're about to say, man.
Sam Darnold got a second chance.
It's true.
Marcus Mariota is getting a chance. We saw Jameis Winston get another chance
Mitch
after
Trubisky?
sitting for your Mitch Trubisky. I mean, we have seen some, no disrespect, some very underwhelming quarterbacks come out and get second chances, sometimes third chances. Drew Lock, another one. So Jordan Love will eventually get the chance because Jordan Love's a mystery right now, right? He played one regular season game and he played a half against Detroit week 18 this past season when Rodgers, they were locked in for the 1 seed or whatever. So he will get a chance. But what does he look like when he starts? Because his very limited action and preseason, he does have like a 68% completion percentage, like a 1 to 2 touchdown interception ratio, something that's kind of whatever. It's preseason. Who really cares? The one game against the Chiefs is last year. I remember being at this table talking about this is Jordan Love's best chance because he was going against a struggling Chiefs defense at the time.
Elite team. Elite defense.
No. What's crazy? What's hilarious is that was actually the game that the Chiefs figured it out.
Yes.
No, yeah, I know.
That was the
game. It took Jordan Love coming out to the field.
They were terrible. They were terrible going into week 9 whenever
But then
it was
the
they
Chiefs
played.
proved themselves out.
Okay, but going in, they were legitimately like a bottom
One of the worst.
2 defenses in the league. Jordan Love
But
went
they
out
should
there.
have never been that.
Jordan Love went out there. Well, we had an 8-game sample size, and they were terrible for 8 games regardless. 19 for 34, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That was his stat line. First-round pick. The guy was supposed to replace Aaron Rodgers. Now,
Not
maybe
just
down
anyone,
the line.
one of the best of all time.
Maybe
Come
down the
on.
line, Jordan Love turns into something. But it's hard for me to believe that, listen, Aaron Rodgers is all-timer, one of the best quarterbacks, first ballot Hall of Famer, most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen in our life. But it's hard for me to believe that a team like the Packers are going to deal with Aaron Rodgers' nonsense for really 2+ seasons now, where he has all this drama going on. He asked for a trade like on draft day, last draft in 2021.
Take me back.
He has all of these interviews with Pat McAfee, the COVID stuff, the vaccination status, all this nonsense that goes around with Aaron Rodgers. And some of it you put up with because it's Aaron Rodgers. But if you had something special behind him, if you know Jordan Love, the Chiefs had no problem getting rid of Alex Smith. A different situation, I understand that. But if you had something special like Mahomes, like they saw every day in practice, I think the Packers, they could have got 3 first-round picks pretty easily for Aaron Rodgers. With no doubt in my mind, they could have got 3 first-round picks, opened up cap room. Tay wanted to leave regardless, but maybe they could have went out and traded for a Tyreek Hill or one of these other guys, and A.J. Brown, who ended up getting moved this offseason. They could have done that if they had something special in Jordan Love. We don't hear anything. This is going on our 3rd year of Jordan Love. No practice reports. No, he's killing stuff at OTAs. He has his swagger back now, so maybe that means something. He'll get a chance, but at this point in his career, it's hard for me to think that year 4 he's going to come and break out into the scene.
It's just disappointing. Usually people with glasses analyze things much further than this. But that's not the case here. The fact that you're down on Jordan Love makes me not love your position.
Before you go on, give me one reason why I should be high on Jordan Love. In 2022, why I should be high on Jordan Love. I'll wait.
The maturity this young man shows forth and puts out every single interview, whenever he's asked about things, shows me he's a leader. I think Jordan Love is a guy that he's handled this situation as great as anybody can handle it. He hasn't gotten uneasy. He's just been a student. He wants to play, but he understands one of the greats is currently in front of him, so he won't get that opportunity. He's even said it's disappointing for sure because he wants to be the guy, but Aaron has earned that right, and he's 100% right. Talking about Mahomes, it was easier to move on from an Alex Smith who constantly lost whenever you got to the playoffs, the wild card. He constantly lost the wild card. It's
not like
easy.
Aaron Rodgers.
Not like Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers, when's the last time he went to the Super Bowl?
He's been to before this past season. He was in back-to-back NFC Championship games.
I went to a
if
Super
I'm
Bowl.
not mistaken.
He loses.
But still, like
They just got embarrassed by the Niners.
it's Rodgers. So let's not
I'm
even
not
talk.
comparing him to Alex Smith. I'm just saying we're not going to sit here and pretend like Aaron
It's a
Rodgers
huge
goes to multiple Super Bowls over the last 5 years.
It's a huge difference,
It
and
is.
we know that Rodgers elevates that team. And without Rodgers, they're probably not even making a sniff in the playoffs.
They're probably they have a good defense. I was going to say top 5.
They're not sniffing the playoffs.
No,
So
you could say they have a potential top 5 defense.
No, I was going to say top 5 pick.
Oh.
So hold your
you know why.
horses. That being said, I think Jordan Love has showed a lot of maturity throughout this entire process and not getting impatient and just waiting his turn. While you were giving your entire monologue about why you think Jordan Love ultimately won't pan out, because that's basically what you did, all I could picture was somebody putting in a VHS tape, rewinding this clock back to 2008, you sitting at this table and saying, it's been 3 years for Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre, one of the better quarterbacks to ever play all time. You just got to move off of Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be the number 1 pick overall, though.
He went to the 20s.
I just
No, but
want
I
to get this.
understand.
I want to make sure I'm getting
Jordan
this right.
Love he could have been a top 10 pick.
I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Jordan Love's comp is Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not saying his comp is Aaron Rodgers, but I'm saying we're giving up on a quarterback that we haven't seen much of.
Don't you think there's a
Just
reason?
off the sole fact we haven't seen much of. The reason we haven't seen much of it is because Aaron Rodgers is
That's
playing
the
over
reason.
him.
That's the reason.
That's why he's playing over him. But Jordan Love, to me, in his first 2 starts against KC and the Lions at the end of the season, did he show all world great? He didn't show
Trey
that.
Lance showed a lot more in his 2 starts than Trey.
He's also playing in a much simpler offense.
It's Shanahan and LaFleur.
But there's different
the same
play
guy.
calling.
I
There's
know,
different
but
play
it's the
calling.
same scheme. It's the same offense. It's all.
But
trickled
it's
down from
not the same
Shanahan.
play caller. Play calling matters.
Okay,
Play calling
it's
matters
the
a
same
ton.
offense. I don't know what
Play
what
calling
I'm
matters a ton.
It's the same
So
offense.
there were, in the KC game, there were multiple times where the play design wasn't right, where if he would have a running back coming off a play action and he wouldn't be there. Jordan Love, he had defenders in his face the entire game. He wasn't able
Welcome
to
to
really
the
step
NFL.
into throws. No, I'm just saying, there's one thing one thing about making throws in front of guys. There's another thing about having free rushes in your face and you not having the time to step into throws. That happened to Jordan Love.
Against the
God forbid I say that about Tua, though, right?
Patrick Mahomes, week 17, when he got his chance to start his rookie year, he didn't look Hall of Fame exceptional, all-time great either. I'm just saying, these things take time.
But it doesn't take Patrick Mahomes 3 years to become the starter.
That's because Aaron Rodgers wasn't over him, wasn't starting over him.
Because you see special at practice every single day with Patrick Mahomes.
And AJ Dillon just said he got a swagger back.
That's not special. That doesn't mean
That's telling me he did something. I'm just saying.
What do you do?
We all got to ride for someone mediocre, right?
I'm just saying Jordan Love. I mean, yeah, you do it with Tua all the time.
But I mean, like at least Tua start, at least Jalen Hurts starts. Like
Jordan Love.
My mediocre guy's Daniel Jones, by the way. I wasn't talking about Tua.
Oh.
Well,
I don't think Jalen Hurts is mediocre.
According to everybody else, it's Tua.
Everyone else is wrong.
Okay. I mean, we're gonna see. Season is not far away.
Okay, what's So give me the 2 to 3 year plan for Jordan Love. He has a $150 million extension, I believe. I don't know if it's after every year, but definitely after 2024, Rodgers could get out.
Listen, if Jordan Love does not get a chance, it's evident that he won't play next year or start in 2023. He'll get traded.
Yeah, because this is year 3. Next year will be year 4. Then you have a 5th year option that's going to be $25 million you'd have to pick up to be a backup quarterback.
Yep.
And that would be, if they trade him, one of the worst draft picks ever.
You're saying their cap space is already in shambles.
Yeah. One of the worst draft picks ever because you took a first-round pick and you didn't even see him play. Like, it's one thing if a guy busts and you know it's like, all right, we missed. But, like, you didn't even see him play. It's just a mystery. Who knows what would happen? Unless, what do you get for Jordan Love now? A 3rd-round pick at absolute best?
4th rounder.
Yeah. It's probably a 4th-round pick.
Green Bay folded. Like a cheap suit.
Yeah. Maybe if they got a receiver.
Did they fold or do they just need to give him the opportunity?
Get Rodgers out of here.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you're saying?
We'll give Rodgers $150 million.
I'm not like I obviously know that's not what you're saying, but that's really what it comes down to. Like, do we want the Packers to try and vindicate this selection by getting rid of Rodgers? No, we're gonna clown them even more. You keep Rodgers because it's the sound thing to do. You need to accept as a franchise we made one of the worst picks in our history of our franchise.
Up for him, didn't they? I believe so.
They did.
Yeah.
I mean, if Jordan Love does start, he's the second best quarterback in that division by default.
What? No.
It's Kirk Cousins' Love, then it's Fields and Goff.
He's the worst one.
No, he's not.
Jordan Love hasn't shown us anything, bro.
I think he'll be the second best out of that group.
Who is the second best right now? Do you take Goff or Fields?
I mean, numbers-wise, probably Goff over last year, but like I'd rather have Fields.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, give me Fields.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
God forbid they gave him some help.
It's tragic.
It's tragic as hell. I don't know why Bears fans like hate me, bro.
They should love you.
Like, I love Justin Fields. Like, I want him to succeed and be good. And Bears fans hate me because I shit on their team. Like,
bro, you're like one of the only people that I see support Justin Fields.
And I get dumbfounded because I have Bears fans in my mentions talking to me about Velez Jones and Equanimous St. Brown and I'm in this offensive line. I'm like, bro, they're like, oh, you got to look at the secondary. Look how bad our secondary was last year. I'm like,
that's true.
Your secondary is going to be terrible, but at least, like, give your franchise quarterback who you spent 2 first-round picks for to trade up, like, give him some weapons.
It all starts with
Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, who are not there no more.
No, I know, yeah. They're the ones who put this team together, but you had this offseason to put pieces.
No, I'm saying they're the ones who traded up for Justin.
No, I agree. But whoever they hire as a GM and coach, like, I'm assuming they went in this talk, like, do you think Justin Fields could be the guy? Like, I'm assuming they're saying yes. Like, I don't think the ownership is saying we're going to give up on him already after spending 2 first-round picks to move up.
Now, last week we did a Would You Rather from Michael Thomas, and that did really well. 1.1 million views on TikTok, I think.
I'm not going to lie.
Love you guys.
That was the first time I went back, looked at a TikTok, and I was like, yo, I'm wilding for some of these, bro.
I love
like,
those moments.
in the moment, like, I wasn't even trying to be controversial or nothing, but I
we're
saw
not
right
talking
away
about this.
the second one was DJ Moore. Said no conversation. I was like, oh my God, that was kind of crazy.
Bro, that was hilarious.
So we're going to do a player who's similar, who's coming off of injuries, but when he was at his best, he was one of the best. Now, this is Would You Rather Saquon Barkley edition.
I know this one's going to get me angry. I know it already.
David Montgomery.
Such a good name already to start.
That is a great name.
Saquon stays healthy, it's a lock.
I'll take Saquon.
I'm taking Saquon also.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke.
Ezekiel.
Melvin Gordon.
Saquon Barkley.
Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler.
Josh Jacobs.
Saquon Barkley.
Jacobs.
Leonard Fournette.
Damn it.
Fournette. I don't feel great about that.
Saquon.
Rashad Penny.
Saquon.
Penny's not going to play.
That's easily for you guys?
Penny's not going to play.
You're a big Penny guy. I understand.
No, Rashad Penny last year went on a stretch where he looked better than Saquon's looked in the past 2 years.
You know what Seattle did? They said, we're going to take a running back in the second round.
Because of Penny's injuries, but Penny averaged 189 yards per rushing per game.
He was really good. He was really good. I'm not knocking him.
And Seahawks offensive line is not good.
I want you to say this name. Go ahead, though, but I have one name that I would definitely want you to say.
Kareem Hunt.
Saquon.
Saquon's going to put up better numbers, but I'd rather have Kareem Hunt.
A.J. Dillon.
Again, Saquon's going to put up better numbers. I'll take Saquon over A.J. Dillon.
I'll take Saquon.
A.J. Dillon?
You love A.J. Dillon.
He's better than Saquon.
He's not better than him.
Is this name on your list?
Oh, no, I didn't. He's not. You want me to say him?
Yeah.
Brees Hall?
Brees Hall.
I get it. I understand. Oh, man, it's just
I'd rather have Brees Hall than Saquon.
It's so disappointing to me, man, that Saquon.
I'm actually disappointed. You both said Zeke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Am I not mistaken? What makes Saquon better than Melvin Gordon right now?
He's more explosive.
Saquon's more explosive than Gordon right now?
It's close.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think Saquon's going to have his best year out of these last 2 seasons this next year.
He should.
Improved offensive line, better coaching staff.
His rush offensive line is some of the worst I've ever seen in my life.
They upgraded, though.
For sure, which is why I'm more optimistic. I'm still believing in Saquon. And
you said Saquon for Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, I did.
I said Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, who has a very terrible run blocking offensive line.
Yeah, Colton Miller's really the only standout O-lineman.
He's a touchdown machine.
Saquon, since his injury, he's averaged 2.7 yards per carry.
I'm not disagreeing. Yeah,
that's why I think Rashad Penny clears.
He doesn't clear.
Right now, if both healthy, Rashad Penny clears. Saquon.
Both healthy, that's my thing. If both are healthy, no.
I want to pull up your list again, Joel. I want to throw a couple other names that maybe we missed.
I'm giving Saquon. This is my last year believing in Saquon. This is it. And I say this every season, but this is really it because the Giants have actually done something to put him in a position to have success. If he stays healthy, he will be very good.
Ramondre Stevenson.
You're a bastard.
Ramondre Stevenson, easily.
You had him significantly lower than him. Can you stay consistent?
That doesn't mean I don't think he's better than him.
He's not better.
He's just a RB2 in the Patriots offense.
Not better than he is. I'm going Saquon.
DeAndre Swift.
Can you show some respect?
DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift.
Oh my God. And DeAndre Swift actually looks mad good coming into the season.
Yeah, he's bulky.
He's huge.
He's bulky.
Damn, you might have me there.
Swift?
Yeah, I might go Swift.
So you did all that to go Swift.
That's why I'm mad.
J.K. Dobbins?
Clear. J.K. clears.
God. Put Saquon with the Ravens rush offense. He's Jim Brown of our generation. I'm going J.K.
You know who else clears? Tony Pollard.
He doesn't.
He clears too.
He doesn't.
Tony Pollard clears Saquon.
James Conner.
Saquon.
That's easy.
I know. He's a James Conner.
What about Javonte Williams?
Oh.
Javonte.
Easy.
What about Najee?
Najee.
What about James Robinson?
Saquon.
ETN?
Saquon.
Antonio Gibson?
Saquon.
Damian Harris.
Situation's killing him, man. Get him out of New York. Get him out of New York. Oh my God. I my stomach is making me sick at the thought of potentially saying Damian Harris, but because I think it's Damian
Cam
Harris.
Akers.
Saquon, stop it. Stop it. Stop.
Just throwing it out there.
He's mid.
Kenneth Walker.
Saquon.
Devontae Booker.
James Cook.
You're a bastard.
I know your guys.
You are a bastard.
Devontae Booker was actually better than Saquon.
He was. Because you want to know why? Devontae Booker does this and goes. Saquon is actually looking, and that's his mistake. He shouldn't look. He should just run because he's looking, trying to make a big play happen.
That's such an odd take.
But it's so true. It's crazy
Bro
to me.
said don't look.
Bro, this is legit.
This is actually pretty crazy. So look at this.
Devontae is better than him. He's been better.
No,
He's going to say
no.
it.
So look at this. In 2021, Saquon had 593 yards on 162 carries, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Booker had 593 yards on 145 carries and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 4.1 yards per carry. Saquon 3.7 yards per carry.
Not going to lie. Devontae Booker, he literally did this.
And
Head down,
Booker had
5
more
yards minimum.
Booker had 5 more receiving yards than Saquon as well. 1 less receiving touchdown.
What do you make of that?
It doesn't make me feel good. But I watched a lot of Giants games because obviously I care about how Saquon does. And I understand that Devontae Booker puts his head down and runs. Saquon is trying to make a big play happen every single time. And it's not to his benefit sometimes. Majority of the times, apparently.
That's how he's always been, though, since his rookie year.
But it worked.
He's
Rookie
a home run
season,
hitter.
sophomore season, it worked.
But Saquon's a home run hitter.
I agree, which is why I'm not mad at his style of running. He needs proper blocking. He will be fine. And the Giants have done things to benefit him with the offensive line, which is why this is my last season with Saquon. I promise you, Lord. I promise. This is it. James Cook, I'm not taking him yet.
You shouldn't. No
My
way.
question to you, though, is that how can you say Zeke over Saquon but not Pollard?
I like Zeke more.
But Pollard is better than Zeke.
He's not.
No, he is better than
He's
Zeke.
not.
I don't know how you can watch the Cowboys the past 2 years and be
No,
like,
last
yeah,
season.
Zeke is better than Pollard. No, Pollard has been better for a while.
Last
He's been
last
better for a
season,
while.
it was
evident.
yeah.
It was
Last
it was borderline
season,
obvious.
Zeke was hurt.
He was. Nah, he was.
You know
for
what
sure.
it was? You know what it was? Two seasons ago, when you said Pollard was better than Zeke, it was, oh, you're ridiculous for saying that. Last season when you said it, people who heard that comment are like, man, this guy's probably right.
This guy knows ball.
This guy, yeah, Pollard is better than him.
Pollard's good. He's good. I like Saquon.
You love Saquon.
Let's get on to our AFC North previews and predictions. Let's talk about the Bengals first. Joel, you famously said that the Bengals were flukes, and that's the question of this topic in the preview.
So ironic.
Will
after
the
this.
Bengals
I can't wait.
Will the Bengals prove that last season wasn't a fluke?
I don't think.
I'll start with
I
you.
don't think I said they were fluke.
You're lying. You're
think
lying,
they said,
brother.
I said
brother,
they got
brother.
lucky.
Listen, I look out for you on the show. I
said
sorry.
they got lucky. Did
am
I say
sorry.
they were a fluke?
Not only did you say that it was fluky, you also
I said they got lucky.
You also said there's a chance they don't even make the playoffs.
There's a world where that happens.
You were all right, which is why I am very excited to hear your prediction,
There's a world where that happens. I don't remember saying fluky. I remember saying lucky.
which goes hand in hand.
But there's a difference.
There's a
There's a difference.
You look in the dictionary, they definitely have two different meanings.
There's a
However,
difference.
we're intelligent human beings.
We are.
We understand that they coincide.
They're synonyms.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
But we have this discussion like if a girl's pretty versus a girl hot. There's a difference if a girl's pretty and she's hot.
Hey, fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
There's a difference between being fluky and lucky. Don't ask me what the difference is, but I know I said lucky and not fluky because teams. I think this is what the difference is. Lucky gets you to the Super Bowl, right? Lucky gets you. They played the Raiders the first round, of average team, maybe a little bit above average.
Brother, I'm sorry.
The Titans in round 2, probably the worst 1 seed we've seen in a while, and then the Chiefs. All the credit to the Bengals. They were phenomenal. First half, they were terrible, and then they just flip-flop where the Bengals were great. The second half, the Chiefs looked abysmal, like they never played football before. And to their credit, they played a good game in the Super Bowl, too. I think the lucky is you get to the Super Bowl. The fluky is like, I don't even think they're going to win a playoff game ever again or whatever.
The lucky is a difference between you being semi-confident in what you're saying and fluky is being you being ultra-confident in what you're saying about the Bengals.
Maybe, but I always said lucky. I never said fluky.
Because when the Hawks went on the playoff, and I said it was a fluke, outright.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn.
Yeah, good for you. That was a good take. Good take. Listen, I think the Bengals will be a wild card team competing for a wild card spot. I have them this season going 11-6. They play some difficult opponents. I wouldn't say difficult, actually. It's really the Steelers who have the most difficult schedule, I think, out of all of these guys. Because really the only out-of-division ones, I mean, Kansas City, at Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Like, those are big standouts, right? And I think one of the hardest things while doing this, we'll talk about it later, predicting this, all these teams, is what happens with Deshaun Watson, because that changes the outlook for basically this entire division. But the Bengals, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think they'll be a wild card team, so I don't think they're going to come first in this division. They upgraded the offensive line. You have another year of Joe Burrow, who, like you've mentioned in the past, it took to that second half of the year once he was fully recovered from that ACL surgery to really show out. Joe Burrow, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. They have the weapons with the wide receivers and all those guys. They're not going to be a scrub. They're not going to have a top 15 pick by any means. They'll be a borderline playoff team. They'll probably be, that 6-7 seed. Maybe they get to the 5 seed. We have 4 teams in the AFC West who we all think can make the playoffs. We have 2 teams, maybe 3, depending on how you think of the Jets in the AFC East. Whatever. We have 2 teams in the. He was giving me a look. We have 2 teams in the AFC East at the very least that we think would be borderline playoff teams.
For
so
sure.
there's a lot of competition to go into the AFC in general. So they're not a fluke. They're going to be a borderline playoff team. They're going to be competitive. They're going to win games. I have them at 11-6, finishing second in the division.
All right. You said a lot of things that I agree with. In referring to their upcoming season, the whole fluky thing. You lose me there, respectfully.
I said lucky, not fluky.
I apologize. 100%. Lucky.
Thank
even
you.
Still, I'm sorry, brother. Reaching foul. Joel Dehls.
Why?
Come on, man. The way you were explaining it, the only thing I can think of how lucky is just... you said it best. Lucky is you being semi-confident.
But no, you guys put fluky into my mouth. I never said that.
That's what I'm saying, which is what I'm saying. What he's saying is facts. You saying lucky is that it could be true. It could be... The fluky is like, no way it's not happening.
Well, I'm not going to say there's no way they don't have it.
I don't
Joe
know.
Burrow,
You said that they wouldn't make the playoffs. That was.
I'm
nuts.
just glad you're giving Joe Burrow respect.
I've always
now,
given Joe
Drew,
Burrow
you want to
respect.
give your prediction?
For sure.
You're such an internet head, bro. You can't be a lower on a guy without thinking he's terrible.
Now that's pretty true because we have him still locked in top 10.
Not even that. It's just the guy you have over him, or some guys you have over him. I vehemently disagree with.
You had him. You had this one guy over him forever until he went to the Super Bowl.
No, I'm talking about Deshaun Watson. I'm not talking about Herbert.
I'm sorry, bro.
Why
is that a conversation?
7-on-7 clip from a June playoff.
No, I'm just saying. There's no way if you're taking stats and winning into consideration, Watson is over Burrow. This doesn't happen. And on top of that, Burrow's a leader.
Yes. And Deshaun's
not
off the field. And it's unfortunate what's going on.
A leader
for
doesn't
sure.
do that.
I agree.
Not wrong at all.
Alleged.
Correct. Listen, let the law handle it. Let it go that way. We're gonna say this for the Bengals. They made a lot of improvements, and the improvements that mattered the most was fixing that offensive line that was among the worst. I believe it was the second worst offensive line behind Miami, in front of Miami, I guess I should say. And they went. They brought in Ted Karras. They went in. They brought in Alex Kappa. They went in. They brought in Lyle Collins. Pair that with Jonah Williams. It's a solid offensive line now. They're actually should go out there and be confident that these guys up front can protect Joe Burrow, give him some time to see Jamar Chase downfield, which could have been the difference between them winning the Super Bowl and them losing the Super Bowl. T. Higgins down the field. Tyler Boyd could get a little bit more action now. Joe Mixon out of the passing in the passing areas of the field. I have them also going 11-6, but it's going to get interesting when we hear my other rankings because I'm going to need help with we'll get there when we get there. But
real quick before we move on. If you could pull up your AFC West predictions, and their records, because I'm curious as to see. I would like to do this exercise just to see how this landscape ends up.
Okay, so I have the Broncos 13-4. I have the Chargers 12-5. I have the Raiders 11-6. I have the Chiefs 9-8.
Okay, so those are one for sure over them in the wild card. One tiebreaker. We'll see what happens.
No, it's too clean. The Broncos,
they win
Chargers.
The
correct? No, Broncos and Chargers. They're gonna have a better record than I have the Bengals.
I know, but I'm saying what wild card teams are going to be in contention with.
I understand what you're saying, and then Raiders also is a conversation.
Because I had the Chargers, Broncos both at 12-5, so that's one. KC at 11-6, and Las Vegas right there at 10-7.
No, it's definitely gonna be a fight.
Bro,
but they could win the division. But they could win the division.
The Bengals, yeah.
Yes. So I have them going 11-6. Look, you messed me up. Now I can't find my rankings. So I have them losing to Baltimore at Baltimore. I have them losing to New Orleans in New Orleans. I have them losing to Cleveland in Cleveland.
Week 8?
Correct. It's a division game. Baker is playing in Cleveland. So maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I have them losing to Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. I have them losing to Kansas City. I have them losing to Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay. And those are my only L's. So I have them going 11-6.
Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, not only are they not flukes, they didn't get lucky. Maybe some things went their way.
Which is luck.
That happens to every single team.
And that's why I didn't think my take was crazy. That's why I didn't think my take was crazy.
Every single team.
If you make the Super Bowl, you got lucky.
But the Bengals are for
Not
real.
necessarily true.
It is.
Were the Rams lucky?
They have things go their way. They stayed incredibly healthy.
Matthew Stafford threw a pick to Jaquiski Tartt and he dropped it.
That's not lucky. That's on him. That's
so
on Tartt
that's something
for being mid.
That's something going your way though.
Tom Brady scored 3 points in 1 half. Doesn't do that very often.
That's fair.
So that
I apologize.
because
I'm apologizing. So keep going on. Just go on.
Oh, okay. Because your logic for the Bengals being lucky is that Ryan Tannehill throwing an interception.
I was saying like they just didn't play that many great teams until the Chiefs.
Okay. Now,
They almost lost to the Raiders.
not only are the
Dangerously
Bengals going to be back next year,
game against the Titans.
I'm not sure if they're going to be back in the Super Bowl, but they're going to be an elite team. They're going to win the division for sure, without a doubt.
Oof.
And it's because they got Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in football. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the AFC North over Lamar Jackson, over Deshaun Watson if he even plays, and over anybody
Joel Moran
in Pittsburgh. Now, 3 of the last 5 Super Bowl losers have gone and they've had an under on their over-under projected win totals. The Chiefs, 49ers, and Rams. But the Bengals are the first team to have this low of win projection total since the 2016 Falcons when they had 9.5.
Damn.
And that Falcons team hit the over.
Sorry, what was the Bengals number?
It's 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So the
That is
Bengals
low.
are hitting their over for sure.
They are.
And people that didn't watch what the Bengals were brewing are often surprised about not only the emergence of the team, but the emergence of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a quarterback that, as a rookie, went 2-7-1. Doesn't sound great. 4 of those losses by 1 score. He also tied as a rookie as well.
Sounds like Herbert.
Joe Burrow was lifting up a piss-poor Bengals team before he got injured against Washington. He comes into this next season. He comes back earlier than expected. He's not even himself until the midway point of the season, a little bit after, and has a season for the ages. I mean, Joe Burrow last year, only quarterback behind Tom Brady to not be in play action plays. He had 507 attempts, which means that he's not somebody who's in play action a lot, which is, for young quarterbacks, the 2 easiest things for young quarterbacks in offenses, play action and pre-snap motion. Joe Burrow, second in touchdowns on plays without pre-snap motion, 112.3 passer rating. Joe Burrow is one of those guys that your entire offensive staff can take the training wheels off because he can handle anything coming his way. No play action, no pre-snap motion, doesn't matter. I know where I'm going with the ball. And now he has time. Like, this was the 31st ranked offensive line in football last year. You bring in Alex Kappa. You bring in Ted Karras. You bring in La'el Collins. Jonah Williams is getting better. C.J. Uzomah is a huge loss because of his leadership. But Hayden Hurst, as a starter in 2020, put up 500 yards
really
receiving. He can replace C.J. Uzomah's impact, in my opinion. That's not even a question. The Bengals are winning this division. I think they're going 11-6. They could even be better, though. You know, some of these games that are toss-ups, they could win. I have been winning the first 4 games. So I think they're going 4-0 against Pittsburgh, Dallas, the Jets, and Miami.
Correct.
They lose their first one at Baltimore.
Correct.
Joe Burrow back in Louisiana versus Saints. Oh, they're winning that one.
That's a tough game for me. That's the one that it could make or break the division, truthfully, but it's tough to go into that environment.
They're 5-1. I have them beating Atlanta 6-1, losing to Cleveland at Cleveland, 6-2 Carolina, beating them 7-2. I have them sweeping Pittsburgh, but for this sake, winning this game 8-2. Tennessee 9-2. I think they lose to KC 9-3. They beat Cleveland 10-3. They lose to Tampa Bay 10-4. They beat New England 11-4. They lose to Buffalo 11-5, and they beat Baltimore week 18. So I think they can go 11-6 or 12-5. It's either or.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that record.
I think the only team they sweep in the division is Pittsburgh.
I agree.
In my opinion.
I think they sweep Pittsburgh too.
I'm gonna give Pittsburgh that respect. Give Mike Tomlin his respect as well. That he could get one.
I think the Cleveland games get flipped. I think they win week 8, even though it's in Cleveland. I don't think Deshaun plays, and I think they beat them week 14.
Well, at Cincy, I don't know about that. At Cincy,
Deshaun, baby.
Deshaun's not.
If he plays,
we gotta look. I like Deshaun a lot. I think he's a really great quarterback. But I heard something from Chris Sims today that made a lot of sense. We shouldn't expect Deshaun to all of a sudden be great as soon as he comes back.
All of a sudden, he is great.
I mean, to be back and play at the level he was playing at before he
I have no
stopped
concern.
playing.
I have none.
It's been a year.
Michael Vick did not play for over 3 years.
He wasn't the same, though.
He was
in
number
Philly. He was
2
amazing.
MVP candidate.
In Philly, he was amazing.
He lost to Tom Brady. That was it.
I don't know.
He didn't play right away.
I'm being serious.
He didn't play right away because of McNabb.
Correct.
But eventually, when he came in, he was insane.
I'm just saying it's more than it's like he missed a season of an injury, except he wasn't hurt. He was actually having time to practice and still throw and still work out. I understand.
Philly also had the weapons to help out Vic, though. There's no Deshaun Jackson on this team.
Amari Cooper is
Cooper and the best running back tandem in the league.
But he's not
Deshaun
Jackson, though. Amari Cooper's not that Deshaun Jackson.
No, not that. No,
they have
and Jeremy Maclin either. There's no.
We
Jeremy
agree.
Maclin.
They have the best running back duo in the league, backfield, whatever. Great offensive line. Amari Cooper is.
But he also didn't have that in Houston once DeAndre left. It was Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks and Amari is a debate.
No, it's not.
Brandon Cooks is more consistent.
In the long run, like comparing careers, I understand what you're saying. But right now, at this point in time, personally,
I think you can count on Brandon Cooks to play all 17 games.
Amari doesn't miss a ton of games.
I know, but it feels like he disappears.
No, I agree.
He disappears.
He does, for sure.
I'm saying it's close. It's
but with
not
Deshaun,
like
he's not going to disappear.
Especially because it's David Bell, Donovan Peoples-Jones behind him.
Deshaun's a different level.
I'm actually higher on David Njoku having a big time year than
that
Amari.
Contract was insane.
Yep.
$50 million for David.
On to the next
He's a great
team.
blocker. I mean, listen,
I know,
it's nuts.
But
he's
$56 million
an amazing blocker.
On to the next team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, are the Steelers, this the team that Big Ben retired, but that's probably a good thing because he wasn't good last year. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league last year. But is this the season that Mike Tomlin is going to have his first losing season as a head coach? That's been that one thing on his resume. He always finds a way to be 500 or above it. But this is probably the least talented team he's had in a while since the Mason Rudolph-led Steelers, which they still managed to go 500. Yeah. So because of that, do you think this is the first losing season he has as a head coach?
I'm really struggling with this one because my notes I have, until I see it, I can't believe it, right? Until it happens, I don't think that it can happen, truthfully, because of how great Mike Tomlin has been throughout his entirety of his career, a top 5 coach in the National Football League. He is the epitome of consistency. You guys mentioned it. Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, somehow, some way managed to get that roster to 500. Incredible how he could do that. But it also relied on the defense being absolutely all-world. That front seven was great. Even still, this front seven is really good.
And there's some great offensive players
for sure.
The years.
Oh, no doubt about that. But it's looking at the schedule, it's going to be insanely difficult. And I'm looking at also that their secondary is not that great. Minkah Fitzpatrick's the only name that you look at in that secondary and you give any type of respect to. Other than that, it's a bunch of hogwash, truthfully. But you have to respect TJ Watt and his impact on the game. And ultimately, that front seven is going to take some heat off of the secondary, but even still, it's not going to be enough. This one's tough for me because I really tried as hard as I could to get them to 9-8. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get there. So, unfortunately, everything that I just said, throw it away because this schedule really is just nuts.
It's brutal.
I have them losing to Cincinnati. I have them losing to New England. I have them losing to Buffalo at Buffalo. I have them losing to Tampa Bay in the Steel City. I have them losing to Miami. I have them losing to Philadelphia. I have them losing to Indianapolis. I have them losing to Las Vegas. I have them losing to Baltimore. I have them with an 8-9 record.
One thing, I love our fans. I love everything. You know, they're always showing support and everything.
Absolutely.
But the one thing I do have to say that just pisses me off every once in a while, I don't know if they don't listen to us and just listen to the record, but it was the Patriots video. We went through the Patriots schedule, how absolutely brutal it was. And the comments, all it says was, it's the Patriots. They're going to find a way to get it done and make the playoffs. It's not going to happen. It's not happening with New England, and it's not happening with Pittsburgh. These organizations have been so good for, especially the ages we are and our viewers mostly.
Absolutely.
They've been good our entire lives. So we just have this thought that it doesn't matter what the schedule is. It doesn't matter what the quarterback. Like, they'll find a way because it's Belichick and Mike Tomlin. Please, Steelers fans and Patriots fans, if you listen to this, go look at your team schedule and find me the 9-10 wins that you think these guys are going to get. Because this division, or not even this division, the Steelers' schedule, first of all, the division's tough. Bengals twice, Ravens twice, Cleveland twice. We'll see what happens with Deshaun. That's going to be hard. Then your out-of-division matchups at Buffalo versus Tampa, at Miami, at Philly versus New Orleans, at Indy versus Vegas. These are all playoff teams, right? They gave them this. The NFL gave them no breaks in this schedule. And you mentioned their secondary is questionable outside of Minka, Cam Sutton, and Levi Wallace. There's nothing special there. Their front seven, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward is really great, but just lost Stephon Tuitt, retired at 29 years old. Athletic linebackers with Miles Jack and Devin Bush, but they've been disappointing first-round draft picks.
That's potential. That's going on potential.
Miles was second round.
Yep.
And it's hard for me. Like, one of the exercises I do, especially when I'm like, oh, this could go 50-50, which team has the better quarterback in these matchups? There's 2 games on the schedule that the Steelers have a better quarterback in. I think it's the Atlanta game and the Carolina game. Outside of that, they have the worst quarterback in every single matchup. I think Cincinnati sweeps them. I think Baltimore could very easily sweep them. Cleveland is the one I gave them the W2 week 3. There's probably not going to be into Deshaun. I think they could beat Jacoby Brissett. I have them going 7-10. You know, they're going to be a competitive team. They overall have a pretty solid roster. I don't know how soon Kenny Pickett starts. I really don't think it matters too much if it's Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky, unless Pickett just lights the world on fire.
I'm looking forward to Mitch, believe it or not. As weird as that sounds, I think he starts week 1.
Okay. Yeah, I have him going 7-10. I think they'll be last in the division. It's a tough road, man. I mean, you got at Cincinnati week 1. It's a tough start. Then New England at Cleveland. I think the Jets beat them. But then after the Jets, at Buffalo versus Tampa, at Miami, at Philly to go into the bye. It's a tough schedule for Steelers fans. But
I have them 4 losses in a row after the Jets.
I have them 5. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, after the Jets. Facts. I have them a 5-game losing streak after that.
I will admit, looking at the Patriots schedule and where I had them finishing, I think it was 6-11. That's something I might regret, because Patriots fans have a point. They got better, at least offensively, from last year just by adding Devontae Parker.
Oh, my God.
They did get better.
And defensively, which you were so adamant about?
Defensively is where I have my biggest question marks.
Like, can we, real quick exercise. If the Patriots were a 5 out of 10 offense last year, they got Devontae Parker. What's their offense?
They had a top 10 offense last year.
I'm just saying, like, if they were a 5 out of 10 on offense, just this hypothetical.
5.5.
I think they're still a top 15 offense, though. Like,
they're top offense because the thing
about
attack.
You look at not only that, but it's like the Patriots have the pieces in place offensively, great offensive line, running back tandem, tight end tandem. The receivers aren't all worldly, but they can get the job done. But the biggest factor in the Patriots, ultimately, I might be wrong about them, is that I think Mac Jones is a pretty damn good quarterback. I don't think Mac Jones is just average. I think Mac Jones has the potential to be great. I'm a very, very big fan of Mac Jones, and I've been a big fan since he was drafted. When he was drafted, I even said I wouldn't pay Dak Prescott, and I'll take Mac Jones 10th overall, and he'd be my quarterback if I was Dallas. Obviously that didn't happen, but that's how high I am on Mac Jones. And we know in this league, as long as you have the quarterback position figured out, you can win those games.
Just put everything else into
that's
line.
The reason why I might be wrong about the Patriots, because I know how good Mac Jones is, and he might be somebody that proves me wrong.
Another addition we didn't speak about was Tyquan Thornton. They picked him 50th overall. He had one of the fastest 40 times, I believe, the fastest 40 time.
I don't think he's going to be a good receiver, personally.
I don't disagree. I'm not saying he's going to be good. I'm not going to say that he's going to be bad. Just for the fact that he has that blazing speed.
At least they have a deep threat.
Exactly my point. Maybe we start to see Mac Jones let it fly downfield. He was very accurate letting the ball go. So maybe that's something to look out for.
I also think Mac Jones is really good. It's just the pieces around him are just. I mean,
those same pieces were a top 10 offense last year.
I get it, man. I 100% get it. They had a couple games they scored 50, which really kind of sparked that up. One of them was against the Jets, unfortunately. In a couple games, they had like 47. Like it's going to even out regardless because they had a couple games where they stunk too, where they put up 10, 14 points.
I mean, I know what you mean, but onto the Steelers, it's hard to be very low on them just because they added stuff to the roster that I think it made them better, at least on paper. Mason Cole at center, James Daniels at guard, Miles Jack,
you
Levi
clowned me for
Wallace.
Mason Cole last week. You clowned me about Mason Cole.
I think Mason Cole is average. I don't think he's what you think he is.
I think he's average too.
You told me he was an all-pro caliber of center.
Oh, here he goes. There's a Pro Bowler.
So, but I think the biggest addition for them is the loss of Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was the NFL's luckiest quarterback last season. He only threw 10 actual interceptions, but he was supposed to throw 16 more, but defenders just dropped it. That's the most dropped interceptions a quarterback has benefited from since 2007, breaking Mark Sanchez's record of 15 in 2010.
Sanchez.
Yeah, and I remember that season. Sanchez statistically had a good year, but you watch those games, a lot of stuff
What year was that?
went wrong. 2010. Yeah, 2010. So because of that, I think Mitch Trubisky he can be a game manager. He's already proven that if you have the right stuff around him, he can lead you to the playoffs. He did that in Chicago 2018 when he went 12-4. And I think now Big Ben not being on the roster, it gives Matt Canada freedom to fully run his offense. He was a highly coveted coordinator coming over from college. He was a very well-respected guy. But with Big Ben being there and him being used to doing things he likes to do, Matt Canada didn't fully really get to implement his offense into the Steelers. So I think this year we'll see some more of that. And Pat Freiermuth even came out and said that you can just see that it's a totally different offense now without Big Ben. Matt Canada now has full control. So that's a good sign. If he is what people have said he is, then maybe he's the next, offensive guru and the Steelers surprise everybody. But it's just too many question marks. I don't trust the quarterback. I don't trust the offensive line. The secondary isn't very good. And the linebackers are talented but underwhelming.
It's potential. I agree.
Miles Jack had some good seasons at Jacksonville last year. He was one of the worst linebackers in the league. And Devin Bush has not been good.
Underwhelming.
So because of that, I just there's too many question marks. And when you don't have the quarterback in place to cover most of these question marks, I just don't have much faith in them. I think they're going to be 7-10. So, and you're right, and the schedule is pretty brutal, I think the easiest games on the schedule are the Jets. You look at Atlanta and Carolina. But outside of those three games, their schedule is insanely difficult, and that's why I have them at 7-10.
I think it's fine to admit that the Steelers and the Patriots both got marginally better. But I think you also have to admit that the rest of the AFC just got a lot better. Miami made more upgrades. The Jets made more upgrades. Denver, the Chargers, the Raiders. Like, the list goes on and on. All these teams who made significant upgrades that the Steelers and Patriots, sure, they got better. They got guys who are going to improve their team, but they're not going to have as dramatic as an impact as the rest of the league.
I'm with you wholeheartedly.
I agree, but one team has Mac Jones.
And one team has Kenny Pickett.
Mac Jones.
I like Mac, man.
I like too. Mac and cheese.
I'm upset he has to be on New England.
Yeah, me too. It'd be much easier to root for him. I mean, I still root for Mac Jones, but it'd be much easier if he wasn't on New England.
That's weird.
I mean, I'm never rooting for Mac too. Like, none of these guys.
I promise you, I will never, ever in my lifetime root for Mahomes. I will never root for Justin Herbert. And Derek Carr can go.
100%.
So you don't root for them, but you don't find joy in them succeeding, in Herbert succeeding?
Hell no.
Why would I do that?
Because he's a great young dude, man.
Like, that's why the Tom Brady issue is never going to sit right with me, bro.
The only thing, good for them, that's about it. Good for them as an individual.
Facts.
That's about it.
Yeah, I'm happy you're happy as a human being.
Correct.
But, I don't want you to succeed in football because you're hurting my team.
Let's say the Broncos, by week 4, there's no chance you guys are going to be good. Which, Of course, it's not going to happen.
I'll live in this theoretical situation with you, yeah.
But that's what my life has been as a Jets fan, right? You don't find any players that play for other teams within your division that you're like, I really love that player.
Within our division?
Hell
Absolutely
no.
not.
You like Austin
literally
Eckler
never
a
been
lot.
a single player.
No, I don't. I acknowledge that he's really good at football. That's about it.
You like Devontae Adams a lot.
Now that he's in the
He just
division,
got there,
he
though.
can go.
Yeah. But facts. I feel the same about Tyreek. Like I like Tyreek.
And now that
but-
Tyreek's off the Chiefs,
Oh, yeah.
he's one of my favorite players in the NFL.
No, I'm a huge Josh Allen fan.
Like you lose me.
Like I acknowledge he's the best quarterback in the
fan,
NFL, but I'm
using
like,
the word
not a
fan
of
is
him.
nuts.
No, I'm just a huge Josh Allen fan.
That's nuts.
How can you not be a fan of a guy who plays football at that high of a level?
I don't like
'Cause
Mahomes.
He's in the same division as the Jets.
Mahomes,
bro.
I don't care, bro.
Mahomes is getting talked about being
That
the
doesn't matter to me.
Why?
When the Bills are facing the Jets, do I root for Josh Allen? Like, oh, great pass? No. But if they're facing another team, let's go, Josh. Let's go, Josh.
you feel that way about Trae Young?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trae Young. I'm a big fan of Trae Young.
He actually is.
It's weird.
It's weird.
You're
Yeah.
a weird guy.
I'm just a fan of players who I think are great and I like watching.
So is there any players you don't like? Regardless of sport, NBA, NFL.
I really don't know. There's players I'm honest about. That's about it. And it may appear that I don't like them. Like Tua. Yeah. Like it's not that I have nothing against him, but just being honest about it.
I feel you.
That's
I
pretty
don't
much
I don't
it.
hate anybody in the NFL.
No,
I don't root for Brady. I don't root for Josh Allen.
Mahomes can absolutely go.
Like when you were watching the Bills and Chiefs in the playoffs,
I was rooting for the Chiefs like fuck.
I wanted the Bills to win. I wanted the Bills to win.
You're crazy.
When I
Mahomes
watched
can go.
There's no world where it's Mahomes versus Allen.
And I'll be honest, bro, even if he
Allen.
leaves the Chiefs by some divine miracle of God, I'm not rooting for him either.
That's the one thing about Brady. Because Brady opened up a lot more on social media once he left New England. Like he's a funny guy.
He's
you
cool.
know, he's cool. He's cool as hell.
He is.
How can you not like Tom Brady?
Well, I didn't like him for 20 years because he beat the Jets. Like that's all he did. Why am I gonna root for him?
I mean, even then,
Like,
Tom Brady's
am I
not-
like, am I get bullied at school? Am I supposed to be like, hey, bro, like
you
I
know
love
when
you?
you know when I finally let bygones be bygones? When the Broncos beat the Patriots in 2016 to go to the Super Bowl, and then we won. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I've accomplished what I've wanted to accomplish. I've seen my guy beat one of the best that there was at the time. It was his final season. I can let it go.
Yeah.
It is what it is now.
Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens, a quarterback that you're high on, Joel, Lamar Jackson, and Drew.
Go.
You're not the highest on, right?
I wouldn't say I'm not the highest, but I'm definitely not the lowest. I don't think Lamar is a bad quarterback.
He's
He's not.
Do you remember?
Number 11.
Well, he has Kyler over him.
He does.
So Ravens went 8 and 9.
It's kind of like being a Coke and a Pepsi guy. If you're a Coke guy, right? Like if I'm a Kyler guy, same thing. Like it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna. No way. You
I
like.
feel the same way about Kyler.
The Ravens were 8 and 9 this past season. Lamar Jackson 7-5 record when he did start. Now, do you think they made enough moves this offseason to win this division? And Joel, I mean, you talked about the Bengals being a wild card team, so I'm guessing the team you have winning division is the Baltimore Ravens.
I do have the Ravens win the division. The Ravens made interesting offseason moves because they're kind of zigging while the rest of the league is zagging.
So weird.
They traded Hollywood Brown, who Andrews is the wide receiver 1, but Hollywood's the wide receiver 1 if you look at the depth chart.
So Andrews, wide receiver 1.
Excuse me. Andrews is the number 1 pass catcher on
Thank
the team.
you. I
Hollywood
appreciate
is
that.
the wide receiver 1.
You know what really pisses me off about that? Because you know it's facts.
Well, no, I don't think Andrews as a wide receiver. He's a tight
But
end.
you understand you're getting work in the passing game. Like, come on.
Are you saying eradicate the tight end position?
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, we'll have to talk to Roger Goodell about that.
Because let's be honest, NFL teams basically have done that.
Yeah, but
No,
I mean,
they don't.
Andrews lines up in line.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Kelsey
saying,
does,
like Gesicki doesn't. Waller really doesn't.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts doesn't.
Like Jimmy Graham when he was in the Saints really didn't, which is why they were not going to pay him wide receiver money when he wanted wide receiver money.
But regardless, this was a team that was almost desperate for weapons, right? They drafted Rashad Bateman in the first round, Hollywood in the first round, and then they traded Hollywood, and the guys behind him are Tylan Wallace and a bunch of Devin Duvernay, like a lot of guys that aren't proven in this league. You have Andrews there. You have Rashad Bateman, who I like, but I don't view him as a wide receiver 1 going into the season.
Had some flashes, though.
He had some flashes for sure, especially dealing with the hamstring injury, I want to say, going into the season, missed the first 4 or 5 weeks. But then like this offseason, they drafted Tyler Linderbaum round 1. Morgan Moses, they signed to a contract, drafted another tackle round 4. So they're telling us they're getting back to that run-heavy style, which they haven't exactly gotten away from over the last couple of years, but really recommitting to it, getting J.K. Dobbins back, getting Gus Edwards back. So while everyone's going crazy pass-happy in this league, the Ravens are getting back to that 2019 season when Lamar won unanimous MVP and had a ridiculous season. The only thing that I worry about is the defense going to be great, like it was, in 2019.
I know what you're saying.
That defense, is it going to be able to live up to its standard? Because last year dealt with a ton of injuries. We know the talent is there, especially with the additions they made with Kyle Hamilton, especially. You're getting Marlon Humphrey back and Marcus Peters back, right? A couple of guys that were banged up last season. So I do worry a little bit about their defense because if you're going to be a run-heavy team, your defense can have to step up as well. You're going to be killing the clock. You're not going to have as much time to work on offense, and it's hard to work quickly when you don't have as many elite options, especially trading one of the best deep threat wide receivers in Hollywood Brown. I have the Ravens going 12-5, one game better than the Cincinnati Bengals. Their losses
Seems
week 4.
agenda-based.
Who knows? Week 4 against Buffalo, week 8 at Tampa, week 14 at Pitt. I have them splitting. Week 15 at Cleveland. I think Deshaun's back. And week 18 at Cincy. That might decide the division.
Okay, listen, I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. I think the Ravens are going to be really good, especially getting healthy. Made some additions. You bring in Marcus Williams. That's always great. You draft
Williams, yeah, facts.
Right? You draft Kyle Hamilton. You bring in Tyler Linderbaum to add to that offensive line. They had a great first round, one of the best first rounds in the NFL. And my concern is at the pass rush position. You bring back Calais Campbell, not really much of a presence outside of Calais on that line. Linebacker Patrick Queen. He's an all right guy. I think that this team's specialty, which is obvious, is their secondary, but it's going to be a lot of, if you can have coverage sacks, maybe that's the best way that we can see this defense meet its full potential. But offensively, what you said is pretty, like 100% spot on. When they were that first Ravens team that broke out, it was pretty underwhelming weapons, but Lamar still made it work because of his ability to rush the football.
And they had an elite defense.
Yep.
Absolutely. But I mean on the offensive side of the ball, where Hollywood wasn't Hollywood. Andrews was good, but he was not the Mark Andrews we know.
He was great still, though.
Not this past season, Mark Andrews, though.
Mark Andrews is elite now.
No,
he's now with the Kittles and Kelce's. But at that time, he was. That
was like his first breakout year.
It was.
Like that was Mark Andrews
being
put on the map.
To me was always. I knew he was great. Though.
Coincidentally, it just paired up with Lamar Jackson's ascension as well.
Tight ends usually take a couple of years to get going.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. Andrews was really good at the time.
Was
852 yards.
Yeah, 10 touchdowns.
He was but that was also Lamar Jackson leading the league in touchdowns. Yeah. They just had it working where you couldn't stop Lamar's run game, and it opened up the passing game. So bringing in trading away Hollywood Brown and trusting Rashad Bateman to be your number one with Mark Andrews now being a complete notch above what he was in 2019, I don't have too many worries about their offense so long as Lamar stays healthy. This offensive line, now you add Staley back into the lineup as well, Linderbaum at the center position, elevate this offensive line play, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards back into the lineup. This offense can be elite once more. I'm going to go through their schedule. I have them 11-7, which is what I was saying earlier about the tiebreaker. Yes, excuse me. Thank you. I have them going 11-6, which is why I was wondering about how tiebreakers work, because I have them splitting with the Bengals. So that should be interesting.
I'm pretty sure it's the first tiebreaker is your record in division, and then after that might be like conference.
Okay, so after we discuss, I'll go through that individually and see where it shakes out. But losses, I have them losing week 4 to Buffalo. I have them losing to Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay. I have them losing to Denver at home, actually. I have them losing at Pittsburgh. I have them losing at Pittsburgh. I have them losing at Cleveland. Then I have them losing at Cincinnati for an 11-6 record, which is what I was saying. Yeah. Yep, the difference between yours and I is that Broncos game.
Yep.
Now, for me, I think the Ravens made enough moves in the offseason. They had a great draft. They brought in the necessary pieces. Calais Campbell, he now has a counterpart. Michael Pierce is back. He played in Minnesota in 2021. Before he signed with Minnesota, he was one of the better defensive tackles. Didn't play in 2020 because of COVID. 2021, he had an average season, but back in Baltimore, maybe he gets reignited.
You pair that with Calais Campbell, maybe something happens there.
Yeah, so I thought that was a huge addition. Last year, their defense was one of the worst in terms of yardage given up, 25th in yards. They were 32nd against the pass, but we know their secondary has now been revamped. They're not injured anymore. And they also got additions like Kyle Fuller, who should be better. But they were first against the run. So this defense that is supposed to have a subpar defensive line was the best defense against the run this past season. I feel like they got better. A lot on how you feel about the defensive line has to do with how you feel about Owe, who I think is immensely talented, who I think is going to have a pretty good year. Tyus Bowser, Josh Bynes, the step he's going to take. I think they'll take some good steps. The Ravens last year didn't have Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. They both were out due to injury. Now they got him back. My biggest question mark is what people have been talking about with the Ravens for the past 4 years. They don't have a receiver. People are expecting this Rashad Bateman breakout. Maybe it happens. Maybe he is an elite receiver. But I left him off my top 32 receivers list, and most people were upset about it. Where is Rashad Bateman? Where is Rashad Bateman?
There's bigger fish to fry than Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who has a rookie, 500 yards in 12 games. He was okay. He wasn't anything spectacular. I think the Ravens' bread and butter is what it has been in the past couple of years. Heavy formations, multiple tight ends. You have Mark Andrews, Charlie Kohler, and Isaiah Likely. 2 tight ends who I was high on in the draft. So they have some versatility there. But you're right. This is going to be a team that is predicated on the run. They're maybe going to be, I doubt they're pass heavy just because I don't think they have the weapons. Like right now, you look at their receiver room, it's Rashad Bateman, Duvernay, Prochet, Prochet actually talked to the media and said that he wants to prove these doubters wrong because everybody's ranking the Ravens as a bottom core, that they have something to prove. Tylan Wallace, like it's just, it's sloppy. They're not good names.
It's sloppy.
It's one of the worst in the NFL. But on the bright side, you look at the defense. 23 NFL defenders have posted 13-plus interceptions in the past 5 seasons. The Ravens have 3 of those in Marcus Peters, Marcus Williams, and Kyle Fuller. So turnovers is going to be a huge part to what the Ravens do defensively. And just to bring it back to the offense for my last point on this, I'm not the biggest Lamar Jackson guy.
You called him no-arm Lamar.
But I can definitely say the Ravens have not given Lamar the necessary help for him to consistently and continue playing at his 2018 or 2019 MVP level. He hasn't had a true wide receiver one since he's been in Baltimore, and they really haven't invested in that position, at least first-round picks or in free agency. They haven't invested in that position.
Well, they invested Hollywood and Bateman, both first rounders.
You're right, Hollywood, but I would say Bateman more so.
Yeah,
because Hollywood was drafted in what, 2019?
Yes,
it was. I think it was after Lamar. So you're right, but we knew Hollywood was who he was.
I've been 2018.
Do we know that?
Yeah,
because he's only gotten better since he's come into the league.
Okay, Lamar.
Just shut that out.
No, I mean, because he doesn't know ball.
Lamar. The reason I feel bad for Lamar is because despite what you say, me not knowing ball, despite what you say about how Lamar's not a great passer or whatever, because that's something you say. That's why you separate Kyler and Lamar.
Yeah. I'm saying Kyler is a better passer. Never have I said that Lamar is inadequate at throwing the football.
You said he was Jalen Hurts level.
This guy.
Now,
this guy pushes his own media. These guys, they listen to you, bro. They believe your words. You got to be smarter.
Lamar Jackson on early passing downs outside the numbers this past year, which is something he struggled with early in his career. First in yards per attempt, first in success rate, first in estimated points added per attempt, and that was in 117 attempts while averaging 9.4 air yards, which is 5th in the NFL per attempt, and being blitzed on 32% of his attempts, which also ranked 5th. Lamar Jackson had his best season last year as a passer, and he showed.
You like to hear this?
No, because I was gonna say the basic stats don't show it, but I felt like when I was watching him play all of last season, I was like, this is the best I've seen him throw the ball.
Lamar Jackson had his best year as a passer last year, but because the weapons aren't there for Baltimore, he won't be able to showcase it nearly as much, and that's why he clears Kyler Murray.
They should go sign Odell.
You're a Rashad
honest.
Bateman injury away from.
That's why you bring in Odell, you take the risk, but short money.
But that being said, the Ravens to me go 10-7 this upcoming year. They could be better like the Bengals. I really think that when it comes to the Ravens and the Bengals, they're my top 2 teams in the division, and I could see Week 18 being the game to decide who wins the division.
That would be lit.
So I think that game to me is the one that is like, okay, this game decides the division, but the Ravens 10-7, they could be even better. I'm not against it. They have some gimmies on his schedule. The Giants, I think, is a gimme. You have Carolina, Jacksonville, Atlanta. Those are 4 free wins. I think they can sweep Pittsburgh potentially. They can beat the Broncos easily. So New England, they have the Jets on the schedule. If you want to count that as a gimme game, there's like 5 gimme games on their schedules. Like there's like 5 if we're counting the Jets.
What about against Miami week 2?
I think they beat them too. I think the Ravens start off 3-1.
Yep, me too.
I think they lose to Buffalo week 4, lose to Cincinnati.
I think they start off 6-1.
I think they lose to Cincinnati and Buffalo back to back.
That's what I have them going.
But then they beat the Giants and beat Cleveland.
Wait, so you have Cincinnati sweeping the Ravens?
No, I think it'll be a tiebreaker. I think
because this is the first game's in in Baltimore. Excuse me.
It is in Baltimore.
And that's
well, I have Cincinnati. The first game is at
Baltimore.
It's
first
at Baltimore. Okay, so that means
6-1. You have them 6-1 the first 7.
Yes, sir.
And you have them losing that last game, which is what I also have.
Me too.
Yeah, but the Bengals could very well beat them both times though.
So you're gonna have that?
The Ravens can too.
I know. We'll see.
I'm asking. I mean, we're doing our predictions right now.
You know what? Bengals did it last year. They'll do it again.
I don't see it happening 2 years in a row. Personally, I feel like Lamar's on a mission this year as well.
Joe Burrow's on a mission too.
I mean, what does he really have to prove?
And he's better than Deshaun Watson, according to you.
He's got a lot to do to get there.
I don't think
That's
Joe
ridiculous.
Joe Burrow doesn't think he has to prove that.
He doesn't.
Joe Burrow thinks he's better than Deshaun.
He thinks that he's the best quarterback in the league.
As
And he will be one day.
No.
He will be.
No.
He will. He's the next Tom Brady.
He has to worry about being better than Herbert.
Listen, if he had, I just don't believe in. He doesn't have his Bill Belichick,
And he's never going to be better than Josh Allen. Ever.
No way.
So what if they win the Super Bowl this year?
When did you become winning matters for quarterbacks?
No, I'm just asking.
The Mahomes versus Brady debate we had like 4 months ago. It was, there's no way winning doesn't matter. It's a team, and now all of a sudden
Mahomes is one on the highest level.
But now all of a sudden it completely switched.
You're trying to compare one playoff win quarterbacks to Joe Burrow. That's disrespectful.
He went on a great run this past season. I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame.
He went on a great one that most quarterbacks don't go on. Phillip Rivers never went on that run.
You're right. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a better career than Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
Borderline.
He should be, at least.
Borderline.
Dude, this is actually crazy.
What?
3-3, both of them, for the tiebreaker in the division. What do I do here?
I think it goes to conference after, but not positive.
Oh, God, it's so much just going into this.
So before we get on to the next segment, I actually want to read you off these stats. So last season, Darren Waller lined up in the slot 29% of the time, out wide 22% of the time, and on the line 49% of the time. So not the wide receiver you think he is.
So in the
50-50.
slot, I was going to say, he's
50-50.
more than...
Yeah, but he lining up on the line 50% of the time is a lot.
Less than 50.
No, it's
in the slot and out wide.
49.4% inside.
So 51.6.
No, like on the line. I mean,
I got you. 51.6, he's a wide receiver. So he's more of a wide receiver than a tight end, if you want to go by the numbers.
Yeah, but the slot...
Because you tried to do that to me, so now I have to really
But the slot is different because when you go on empty...
I know, of course.
When it's an empty formation...
I got it. I got it. I know the game.
It's a slot. This doesn't count as totally out wide.
Kyle Pitts played 500 snaps, slot and wide receiver.
Mike Gesicki played
and 250
7.4% of his snaps in the inside.
For sure.
In terms of on the line.
I love Kyle Pitts, man.
Mark Andrews was at 22% and
Makes
Kyle Pitts was at 22%.
Why do you hate Kyle Pitts? I can't do anything nice.
Fantasy football.
Oh.
Drew likes to cheat like that, though.
What?
With the top running back tandems, Lamar Jackson.
Listen.
No, I said the same
and
thing.
then the Raiders, Darren Waller.
51.6% of times, he's a wide receiver, which means that he's more of a wide receiver than a tight end.
But I need to see like 70%.
Of course. Listen, we're getting into semantics now. Obviously, you proved me wrong. Fine.
Like if you say if like you're 50% in the slot, 50% out wide, you're slot wide receiver.
So it took you all episode to find that?
No, I just
Just to
found
get
it
that
just
point
now.
off? Insane.
No, it's just now when you mentioned it. When you mentioned it again, I was like, "Is this true?"
Before with Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
I
when you
understand.
mentioned it again, I was like, "Let me just
Well,
check."
I did say their wide receiver one's Mark Andrews.
That's why.
Because I understand the Gesicki one, but the
It's
Darren Waller
CFX.
one, I don't understand that one. That's why I searched it up because I wanted to see what his numbers actually were.
And last year he was banged up, really.
Because you were like,
He was. Even when he played, though,
It's the
week
word
one, he was
choice.
amazing outside of that.
No, I agree.
He was
It's the
pretty
word
good.
choice. You were like, he never is there, but he's there 50% of the time. That's a lot.
Listen,
What?
man, you love to pick and choose when you listen. It's great. I love it.
Selective hearing, man.
What do you think I don't listen to?
Almost 70% of the show. What? What'd you say?
Nah, bro, your face. Oh, my God. Your face when he said Judy 1250. God, that was hilarious.
I listen there.
I need
Yeah,
no context.
congratulations.
That's not 70%. No, I think I've listened for a lot of this.
I'm
show.
exaggerating. I'm just being a bastard. All right,
On to the last topic.
here we go.
Baker Mayfield, Cleveland Browns. I guess Baker doesn't deserve his own headline because they have Deshaun Watson now.
Sorry, brother.
But Deshaun Watson, who knows what's going to happen to him, right? But the Browns went 8-9 last season. The Browns are always that team that has one of the most loaded rosters in the NFL.
Every
But
season.
they don't make a run outside of 2020 when Baker brought them their first playoff success that they've had in a very, very long time.
The agenda's
Shout out Baker
starting
Mayfield.
already.
But I want to ask you guys, what are your expectations for the Browns? And this is a two-part question. If Deshaun is able to play at some point this season versus if maybe he doesn't, and do you think Baker should now play for this team that threw him away like he was a piece of trash?
There's a situation where if I had the time, I could have made 3 separate schedule breakdowns for the 6-game suspension, the 8-game suspension, the full season suspension. But I wasn't trying to do all that. I went in the middle ground. I said he's getting suspended 8 games. That's what I'm going to try and do my breakdown for.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
But for your question about Baker Mayfield and if Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended, should he play? If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm taking this opportunity as a tryout to be a starting quarterback on another team. I'm trying to maximize my stock, play as well as I can for teams to want to come bring me in. And also, I guess if I'm Baker, I don't want the Browns to benefit off of me and trade me and get any type of value because it seems as if they've made their decision. They're moving off of Baker. And so I understand from that perspective. But if I'm Baker, I want to try and put myself in the best position possible to be a top candidate for one of these franchises' starting quarterback slot. I believe that he should do that. And I think that, do I believe that he will? The way that this is going right now, I don't believe so. Most likely, Brissett is going to be their starting quarterback, which is pretty scary to me. But I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful that Baker does seize this opportunity because it could mean the difference between him being a backup quarterback for a while or potentially having a starting gig next season. So for the Browns breakdown this season, again, I have them suspending Deshaun Watson for the first 8 games in my breakdown. So I have them losing the first 3 weeks to Carolina, to the Jets, to Pittsburgh. I have them beating Atlanta in Atlanta. I have them losing to the Chargers, losing to New England, losing to Baltimore, but beating Cincinnati. It's a division game, I understand.
With Jacoby Brissett?
No, but I have them in. This is in Cleveland.
I know.
In division game, yes. I'm giving them this one.
Okay.
Bye week. It's crazy, yes, but it's a division game. Anything can happen. Cincinnati had to lose a game. And I don't think that they'll go 2-0 against them. I have them at Miami losing. I have them winning in Buffalo. This is with Deshaun. I had this in my original breakdown when we did the AFC
Have them
East.
losing against Miami, winning against Buffalo.
Correct.
That's just because Deshaun first came back a little rusty.
Correct, absolutely. And it's at Miami as well.
It's at Buffalo as well.
I understand that, but also got to get going. You got to get a win if you're Deshaun. This is a huge game, especially against Josh Allen.
3-5 at this
Exactly.
point.
They're in a very tough position, but this is where I have them getting going. They beat Tampa Bay in home. Yes, I know. At Houston, they win. They lose at Cincinnati. They beat Baltimore at home. They beat New Orleans at home. They beat Washington away. They lose to Pittsburgh for the last game. I have them going 8-9.
Okay. I have some different wins and losses, but ultimately we're around the same record. In terms of Baker, I'm actually curious to hear what you have to say because we had this debate a couple months ago and we got into a huge argument over Baker's maturity issues. We were looking up articles from like 2020 about when he was calling out training staffs and Odell and everything. It's just weird to me that Marcus Mariota got a job before him. Drew Lock / Geno Smith have a job already. Sam Darnold kind of kept his job. And Baker's out here just kind of in this quarterback purgatory where I don't think he's going to play for the Browns. I think he's over it. I don't think anyone on the Browns sees him as the quarterback anymore. And I don't think he sees himself as the quarterback for the Browns. So they're kind of agreeing to part ways, not really amicably either. They kind of went off on a bad foot with Baker putting out that article, whatever it was, that note section in his phone, more or less. So I don't think he's going to play for them. Should he play? He makes the last time we saw Baker, he wasn't great, right? He was injured. He had was dealing with 100 injuries last season. So I think there's a chance, or he should give himself the opportunity to go out and start there, because when he's healthy and he has the offensive line, the running backs, Amari Cooper now, he has shown to be a pretty good quarterback, right? At least above average. He took them to the playoffs, their first playoff win in God knows how long, as you mentioned. So Baker has a chance to go in there and show that he could play. I think especially those teams I mentioned, like the Falcons and the Seahawks and the Panthers, like Baker is a clear upgrade over all of these guys. The issue that I think that teams have, one is the salaries, do $18 million. I know the report came out that the Panthers only wanted to pay $5-6 million of it. They wanted Cleveland to eat it, and I think Cleveland ultimately will have to eat some of his salary. But I think the second issue is people look at the maturity issue. I think people look at Baker, and one of the reasons why it didn't work out great in Cleveland was he probably didn't live up to number one overall in terms of production, but also being a leader for the team. There was issues that we've gone back and forth over. Some say it's a maturity issue. You disagree, but agree to disagree. So I think the NFL is telling us all we have to know about Baker. No one is clamoring to go and get him. No one's trading a third-round pick to get Matt Ryan like the Indianapolis Colts did. So I think Deshaun gets suspended. I used to say a minimum of 6. I'm feeling more of a minimum of 8 now, and it might be longer. I mean, there was a crazy report out there about his lawyer saying some ridiculous stuff about it's not a crime to make people feel uncomfortable, just really out-of-pocket stuff that I think the NFL is going to look very closely into.
He said it's not a crime to get to
the happy ending.
He basically said it's not a crime to make people feel uncomfortable.
That's insane.
And that is a very hot take.
He also said it's not a crime for you to go into a masseuse and get sexual stuff done to you. That's what he basically said.
Didn't Robert Kraft get in trouble for that?
I think if you pay for it. I don't know. We're not lawyers. Regardless, though, the stuff that his lawyer was saying was not something I want my lawyer to be saying. That's for sure.
Absolutely not.
I think there's a greater than 50% chance he gets suspended for the full year.
Which is honestly why I never thought about a full season until these recent reports, honest to God.
I have him going 8-9. I did this under the expectation he's suspended 8 games, but this 8-9 could very easily turn to... I have them 9-8. It could very easily turn to 5-12 if Deshaun doesn't play. 4-13. Like, you have Jacoby Brissett versus Deshaun Watson. That changes everything. With already a pretty weak wide receiver room outside of Amari Cooper, you're going to rely heavily on the run game there as well. So I have them going 9-8. That's assuming Deshaun gets suspended 8 games, but I'm lower on Cleveland just because I don't know what's going to happen with him this year.
Baker should play. That's it. Yeah, if Deshaun is not good to go, Baker should play so he can prove to the team and to the city and the fans that I'm the quarterback you should want. I'm the guy. Because I'm going to lead this team to the playoffs. You're not even going to remember who Deshaun Watson is.
$230 million guaranteed.
Baker Mayfield's here. No, you're right. And the Browns have handicapped themselves
bad
for the future. Deshaun Watson, his future's up in the air. Amari Cooper, I'm not a big fan of. Chase Winovich, he's okay. Those are just some additions they had. They signed Njoku to this massive contract. It's really like 2 years, $24 million. There's not as much guaranteed money on it that the face value of the contract would have you suggest. Njoku, to me, is somebody who can really break out this season. He has physical tools. Last year as tight end 2, he had 475 yards, 5 touchdowns. I think he can touch 800 yards receiving, especially if Deshaun Watson is now the quarterback. But the bottom line is that with Deshaun Watson, with no Deshaun Watson, I feel about Cleveland very similarly. I mean, Deshaun Watson is a guy that when he was with Houston had prime DeAndre Hopkins, had prime J.J. Watt. They always got eliminated in the playoffs. He didn't have any playoff success outside of that one time where he beat Buffalo, escaped the sack. That was a magical moment. But the Browns this year, I feel like their wide receiver room isn't very strong. Their offensive line is a strong point. The running backs, the best running back tandem in the NFL. Their secondary last year was 5th against the pass, so they have it there. they have a lot of talent on this roster. I'm not the biggest believer in Kevin Stefanski, and I'm not the biggest believer that Deshaun Watson is just going to figure out how to be a top 5 quarterback again once he steps onto the field. Like Chris Sims said when I was watching this podcast earlier, there are quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, elite level quarterbacks. They miss a game or two. It takes them a while to come back from that. Deshaun Watson is missing a year and a half. It's going to take him a while to be back to that elite level. Deshaun Watson,
How long's a while?
I'll say 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. I'll say 4 or 5 weeks. And based on what I saw in the OTA's footage,
Who the hell cares, bro?
this guy looks like somebody completely different.
Bro.
I mean, he was
Dude.
eyeing
June.
his receiver. John Johnson just picked it off like it was nothing.
June in t-shirts and shorts.
I understand
Relax.
that. Not only am I not high on the Browns now, I'm not high on them in the future because they're dishing out massive contracts left and right. They're not going to have anything to really build around Deshaun if everything goes well with, what he's currently dealing with. I'm not the biggest fan. And Jacoby Brissett, 14-23 as a starter, really,
You know what he is.
what is
Not
he going to
ideal.
bring?
Not ideal.
But that being said, like, Deshaun Watson in 2019 in 2020, won 4 games with the Texans. This past year, the Texans won 4 games without Deshaun Watson. He made the games closer, but he didn't add wins. So with Deshaun Watson, considering he plays like at the week 6, week 8, I have them going 9-8. Without Deshaun Watson, 7-10, 8-9. It's going to be around the same ballpark. This Browns team is a team that they can win with mediocre quarterback play because they have everything that you can have. They have the foundation. It's the reason why they got Deshaun is because they needed a guy to take them over the top. But due to his suspension, that's not going to happen this year. And I don't know when it happens as long as he's in a division with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's going to have this thing on lock for a while.
So what do you think about, real quick before we get out of here, since this is our last topic, what do you make of this? All of these other guys getting shots to be a starting quarterback, and Baker Mayfield is just Baker Mayfield right now, just out doing nothing.
I feel like before you say something, because obviously this is targeted towards you. His 5th year being the money is going to be a huge part of it. Truthfully, he gets traded. He's going to want his money regardless of where he goes.
But you don't
And
have
I
to
think
pay
he
him.
understands. How much is he getting right now? 20?
18.
18.
Look, your question has an easy answer. We could go down the list of the teams. The Atlanta Falcons. Well, for one, they were in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Marcus Mariota has familiarity with Arthur Smith, and they are a team that's not willing to take on extra salary. They already have massive dead cap hits.
They're trying to lose.
So that, exactly. And Baker Mayfield doesn't help you if you're trying to lose because he's actually a good quarterback. Seattle's a team that it could happen still, but I
Instead,
think
if he was cut, they'd sign him.
exactly, which means they don't want to take on the salary.
It's the 18 million. Well, whatever it is.
It's not only the money, but it's also the assets you have to give up with the money.
The Browns would take a 6th-round pick yesterday if you could.
If a team takes on salary,
Yeah,
You think 6?
they want him off the roster, I think, bro.
6th. I think 6th is crazy.
I think the reason why he hasn't got traded is because the Browns are trying to trade him for
a first, probably.
Oh, hell no.
more. I think he's at least a third.
I mean,
we're
dude,
talking about a starting quarterback in the NFL.
You think the
What
Browns, if they got a 3rd-round pick right now, they wouldn't jump on it?
Darnold was nowhere near the level that Baker reached.
No, he wasn't.
Okay,
but it was a different
you're
situation
making a good
we have
point.
going on here.
But if you're a team, are you giving up a 3rd-round pick to Baker when
No,
you
but
when
that's
you
what I'm
know
saying.
that he can eventually just get released?
But are the Browns going to release him?
Probably not.
Well, that's the answer to your question. The reason why it's not that Baker hasn't got an opportunity, not because he's not good.
$18 million for a quarterback is insanely cheap.
It's because teams are not okay. Also,
It's cheap, but when you can still get that at a cheaper price tag.
What
and a
quarterback-
couple-
Baker's up
what
for
quarterback you
extension
getting?
too, though.
No, him.
I know.
You can get him, but if you wait and you're patient, you can get him for a cheaper
And
price
You're
tag.
also bidding against other teams.
Of course.
You trade that 5th-round pick. You're not getting a 1st-round pick for Baker. No way, no how.
No.
No way.
no, I know, but if you're a team, you're not giving up a 3rd-round pick for Baker.
No, but I just don't think they're getting offers, period. One, because of the salary, but it's like $18 million for a quarterback who you think is pretty damn good. I mean, I think he's above
Also, a
average.
quarterback you have to extend.
You don't know. If you trade a 5th-round pick, you have no obligation to extend him. You give him a 5th-round pick. If he plays well, extend him. If you don't, See ya.
No, I'm saying if he plays well, you have to extend him. So it's not just the 18
You
mil.
can franchise him.
You can. You're still paying him money though,
No,
and that's
of course.
guaranteed money.
Yeah, I mean, if you extend him, you're getting guaranteed money.
Not all of it.
Okay, but the franchise tag is 1 year, so the first year of that contract extension is going to be guaranteed, regardless.
But the franchise tag is significantly higher than what you would be
No,
paying if you extend.
I know, but that franchise tag, it gives you an
Baker,
extra year of
like
flexibility.
Baker's franchise tag could be 30 mil.
million. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it gives you an extra year to see what Baker is.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the reason why he hasn't gotten a job is because teams aren't willing to take on a salary and they're not willing to give up a valuable asset to get him.
I think it's the salary and the maturity issues off the field type stuff.
Yeah, but
What do I
he's
know?
better than what you think, though.
I think he's an average and could play above average at times quarterback.
He's better than Mark Sanchez.
Oh, that's disrespectful. Bad taste.
That is disrespectful.
Yeah.
Come on,
So I will
bro.
never-
he is better than Mark Sanchez.
never
That's your
disrespect.
second best franchise quarterback in the history of your team.
Third?
Who's
Yeah,
first?
Chad Pennington.
Chad.
Joe?
Yeah, and then second is Shad.
Yeah, Chad's number 2.
Chad, facts.
Vinny Testaverde is better than him, too.
Let's not look at those stats.
Vinny Testaverde's dumb nice. Fitzpatrick's better than him.
Patrick got the best year ever.
This is getting
For the
bad,
Jets.
guys. I'm sorry.
2015 was
No, it's
magical.
just you just didn't understand Mark Sanchez and how not good he was.
I was just making a
You will
terrible joke
never
about how
hear-
your franchise is mid.
You'll never hear me say one single bad thing about Mark Sanchez.
You should
Yeah,
never.
I love Sanchez.
He
too.
gives me the only happy memories as a Jets fan.
I had a Mark Sanchez practice jersey.
Stuff.
Yep.
I have a Brett Favre jersey, not a Mark Sanchez jersey.
Vikings one, right?
Wow.
No, Jets.
I actually had.
Why'd you go straight to Vikings?
I like him the best when he was with the Vikings.
I saw his last game on the Jets. Believe it or not, I think you guys played the Dolphins. That
We
was his
started
last
off
game.
like insane.
8-3
year.
and then
Yeah.
didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's something that happens to the Jets, though.
Remember when they were
Eric
offering to give
Mangini.
Brett Favre the key to the city if he won the Super Bowl?
As he should have.
For sure.
Nah, man, the Vikings got it worse though. NFC Championship.
But at
And
least
a-
he
a
went there.
pick-
Like at least he succeeded
Nah, but
with them.
the pick he threw in the NFC Championship was
rough. It
ridiculous.
was rough. It was rough.
Who threw a worse pick, him or Peyton Manning against the Ravens?
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre stands out more to me.
I just think dumber. I think Brett Favre's was pretty dumb, yes.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning throwing on the run. I couldn't believe
not
it.
something you want to
I
see.
couldn't believe
Not
it.
something you want to see.
That's going to do it for episode 184 of the Pick a Side podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, and buy our merch at pickasidepodcast.com. Thank you guys for listening and or watching, and we'll see you
See us
next
rise.
time.